accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. Because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show live on your YouTube machine. Hello. Good to be with you, even though there's a massive Google outage, which is Latin for if there's technical difficulties, it ain't my fault. Here on The Monty Show, presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Man, 100 most dangerous days. That's in my head now, living rent-free, because I was watching I did something last night that I haven't done it has to be a year or more. I actually watched the local news. Now, I won't make that mistake again, but I did quickly realize that, there's a lot of accidents on the freeway, and a lot of them involve motorcycles. And I'm telling you, if you're on two wheels, please, please, please exercise caution. It is so dangerous out there. And if the worst happens, make sure you get to theadvocates.com, because you didn't deserve to get in that accident, but you do deserve an advocate. Get clear, risk-free advice when you need it most. Theadvocates.com, where you can chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365. No matter where you are, the advocates are ready to serve you. And the best part is you never pay out of pocket. Won't cost you a dime. There is no cost to talk to an injury attorney right now at theadvocates.com. Yeah, so did you guys see that this Google outage happened? And is happening. It is ongoing as we speak. And there is a significant, I don't know if you call it internet outage, whatever you want to call it. Get on the interwebs. There is a significant outage happening. And we actually were not sure we were going to be able to do a show today, because the platform that we use to broadcast this show. Are you ready for a big word, Salmon shirt guy?
Yes.
To disseminate this show. The platform we use to disseminate the show is on the Google Cloud platform. So up until about 45 minutes ago, we didn't even have access to our studio to build the show for you. So is this one of those things where we take the internet for granted?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt, we take the internet for granted. And it's kind of scary how reliant on it we are. I mean, it's, like the internet is
I don't
literally
that at
everything. I mean, I don't know what better way to say it than yes, we all use the internet. We all are on YouTube right now, which is a Google property. Like, we're all literally using Google like every day. And so when the rare global Google outage happens once a year, that just kind of throws a wrench in everyone's day, and we don't know what to do with ourselves.
Yeah. What you should do with yourself right now is hit the like button. Can we please get to 200 likes during the live show today? That's always our goal. It used to be 100. Now it's 200. It really helps the channel grow. That's right. Make sure you hit the like button. If you listen to our audio podcast, Spotify was completely down for 3 hours minimum today. But we're on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, wherever you get a podcast. Make sure you search for The Monty Show. Hello to everybody watching the show on X today. We appreciate all of you. Come on over to YouTube. Hit the like button and subscribe to The Monty Show. Big shout out to the real Pete Forte, who's been a member of the show for 19 months.
Nice job, dude.
There we go, Pete Forte. Appreciate you very much. What's going on? Look at that. Keaton Critchlow. Hello. Keaton Critchlow. Good to see you. Mike Smith. Mike, where have you been? Good to see you, sir. On YouTube while using Chrome browser. No problems yet. Exactly right. Chewy Gonzalez, disseminate or inseminate, Monty. Hey, whatever you need to get through the show, man. You do what you gotta do. We should hit the dislike, aka thumbs down button, just to show you that we are upset with Google. No, you should not.
Yeah,
do
please don't do that.
That
Please.
would be
that
not
would
good.
Not be ideal.
Not
for
good
us.
at
Yeah,
all.
that would.
Welcome to the nightmare. Welcome back, salmon shirt guy.
I had to fulfill my obligation for the week. Yeah. And what? No comment on dude over here back in black. Like, what's the deal? Yeah. I mean,
It's
again,
fine.
we're living up to the brand.
The salmon shirt is better than the male Siri voice, Monty. Well, the salmon shirt is returned.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But Monty, Google outage affecting my work. Going to be attractive. I'm going to be active in the chat today. There you go. And attractive, hopefully. Isn't it amazing how many companies rely on Google Cloud?
Yeah.
As we are finding out today. Like it is amazing. Welcome to the nightmare. Hey, Monty and JK Two Shakes. Good afternoon.
Sir.
No, good afternoon to you, sir. Good afternoon to you. Okay. We are watching the U.S. Open. I think Sung J M has taken the lead.
Really?
At the U.S. Open, yes. Has it been too difficult?
I don't think so. No, I think it's been really good. I think that it's very clear. Hit the fairway and you're going to be fine. Don't hit the fairway, you're not going to be fine.
Yeah, I think Rory McIlroy did not hit the fairway. Yes, Sung J M -5 through 11 today. He currently has the lead over JJ Spawn and Thurston Lawrence, as well as Matthew Pavon at 3 under. So a whole host of golfers at even. I'm very curious where this cut line is right now. We'll see where that is. I think isn't it top 50 in ties?
Yes.
I believe that it is. That would have us be at +2. But obviously the cut will happen tomorrow. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Is 2025 the year of Jaron Eccles? Guys. Jake is just the Tiger Woods of sports talk with those fire polos.
Dude, I mean, I have to come in here and provide some color. I mean, that's what we do.
Okay. I don't know what race has to do with it. Jaron also says, good afternoon, fellas. Glad you could get a show going today. We tried.
Yeah, there was definitely doubt there. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we were like, I think it was literally like 39 minutes before the show, and we're like, all right,
let's try it again because it was out.
Yeah, let's try again. Let's work on it.
We use a dissemination platform. We use a service called StreamYard, and StreamYard was out. And we were like, okay, before we head to the golf course, let's try it one more time.
Mm-hmm.
And there you have it. It worked. Horny James says, greetings from Central Texas. Great conference, but I'm glad to be back at work. Yes, Back in Black looks good. You should play AC/DC song. Can't do that. Can't that. Copyright.
Projected cut line currently, based on analytics, is most likely 6 to 7 over.
No.
That's what this says, yeah. Data golf.
Well, I'm going to guess that is numbers based on tomorrow. Because the cut won't be until after everyone's done playing tomorrow. I don't love that it's so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you. I don't love it. I want more. I want better shots. And very clearly, what we talked about yesterday on the show, the U.S. Open of Golf is at Oakmont.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest course in the country by everybody's measure. I am telling you got to drive the ball perfectly. For instance, such as I'm going to Vail next week. We'll be off Thursday and Friday next week as I head for the hills to play some golf. I'm excited to get up to Vail, Colorado and play some golf. I don't want narrow fairways where I'm missing every fairway because that's what's happening. I'm somebody who plays probably 4 rounds of golf a week. I don't want narrow fairways. I want pin shooting competitions.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. All right, let's get into the show. 2025 is a big year for the Big 12. And one of the interesting debates, and I think one of the most interesting topics, is how good is the Big 12 as a football conference? And we've debated this for a number of years on this show. Obviously, ACC fans want to tell you it's a better football conference. Truly, how important is 2025 for the Big 12? I think it's huge. And you look at some of the change that's happened in this conference, whether it's in Morgantown, whether it is everything that's going on in Lubbock at Texas Tech. A big article today came out on Athlon about the importance of this season for Texas Tech and Joey McGuire. I think this year in this conference is huge, whether it's BYU with the Jake Retzloff story, Utah with the Kyle Whittingham, and bringing in Jason Beck to be the offensive coordinator, and Dampier, and all of the change in this conference that has happened to some really important brands. I think this is a year of definition for the Big 12 in football. I think when you look top to bottom in this league, the new blood that's in this league, whether that be Arizona State, who by any measure in anybody's calculation is the odds-on favorite to be the best team in the Big 12 this year, is crowning Arizona State as the best team in the Big 12. But I think this year is critical. And again, I will tell you the heartbeat of the Big 12 is in the state of Texas. If the Texas schools in this league, and I mainly mean Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU, if those schools do not contend to win this conference, Jake, I think it is going to be a very, very long year in the Big 12.
Without a doubt. And I think, with all the things we've talked about this week in terms of NIL and everything going on, you need those brands to win. You need those brands to be relevant. You need those brands to contribute in the college football playoff conversation. And I think that, the Big 12 is much like other conferences in the sense that some schools are getting this big influx of money through their collective, and there seems to be this shift in philosophy happening. You can go read about that with Texas Tech. But the reality is that that's great. You have all this money. And I do think we all know that the expectations at Texas Tech are sky high this year. The reality is, though, when we get down to it, when it's 3rd and 4 and the game's on the line, does Texas Tech convert? Does Texas Tech do what they need to do? Does Baylor do what they need to do? Right? Does Kenny and ASU do what they need to do? Because that's all that matters ultimately. Like we can sit here and, we can talk about like what we think is going to happen. But the reality is this stuff is going to be decided on the football field. And it will be refreshing that Texas Tech should be pretty good this year. Baylor allegedly is better this year. Obviously, Utah is allegedly better this year. So I think that there's a lot of things to look forward to in the Big 12. But I think this question of, is 2025 going to be a great year for the Big 12? Is it their year? Is it their time to step up in the CFP? I don't know. I think that you're going to know the answer to that question if they've got 5, 6, 7 schools in teams that are contending for a college football playoff spot come October. You know what I mean? Like if you've got, several, 7, 8 win teams at that time of the year, and they're all heading the right direction, and we have no idea who's going to win the Big 12. That's the kind of, makeup and situation that the Big 12 needs to have a great year. So I think it's going to be a good year in the Big 12. Certainly it will be better than last year was, but I don't know that you are yet good enough to go out and win a national championship and make it the year of the Big 12 in 2025. Not sure that that's the case.
Yeah, I think Texas Tech is a huge figure in this conversation because I think they're the best team in the conference. I can't help but believe that BYU is going to take a pretty significant step back without Jake Retzloff. I think when we look at teams like Baylor, I don't hold Baylor in high esteem coming into this season. I am not drinking the 8-ball Kool-Aid like a lot of people are in this league. I happen to believe that TCU is going to have a very good year. I think will hell freeze over if Texas Tech doesn't lose one game. If they lose 4 games, like, are we just burning Texas Tech to the ground? Does Lubbock no longer exist? Is it the new Los Angeles? I mean, that's what it feels like. To burn it to the
right.
Anyway,
right.
The point is
that was a riot joke.
No, well, I wouldn't make a joke about a riot, but my point is, if Texas Tech doesn't win this league, I actually think it would be an upset based on the hype, based on what Joey's put together there, based on the prognosticators. We can sit here and we can talk about Utah rebounding or we can sit here and talk about K-State or how good's Iowa State. I am telling you right now, the idea that Texas Tech isn't going to be one of the best teams in this league would be shocking. And I'll say about Baylor, I think Baylor is a 2 or 3 loss team because their schedule is an absolute cakewalk. And I think if this year does not produce a significant uptick in bids to the college football playoff and significantly more revenue as a result, Jake, I think this league, I'm not going to say this league's in trouble, but this league is going to keep falling further and further behind.
Certainly. And I think, when you consider the fact that if you're not basically converting on the investment that your collective is making into the team, and you're not returning the favor with wins, that's always a problem, and so would it be an upset if Tech didn't win the conference?
Ooh.
I mean, I think we need to see what the makeup of everyone else besides Tech is. I mean, I think it's, we just need to be careful with that. But Texas Tech should absolutely be in the conversation to win the conference. I would agree with that. And I think for the Big 12, it's just a matter of what are you going to do different this year? Who's going to be the surprise team? Because Arizona State's not a surprise anymore, right? And Colorado allegedly is going to take some big ass step backward if you listen to all the haters. But what is Colorado going to be? Where is TCU at? Obviously you've got a good offense and Josh Hoover's your guy, but where's the defense at? Can you stop anybody? Because you couldn't last year. And I'm not hearing the same, just ringing endorsement of massive NIL spending, in Fort Worth that we are in Lubbock. So I don't know, we'll just have to see. But I do think that the Big 12 needs to find a way to break through in the CFP. There has to be some type of way to get
certain types of way. If
they could find a certain type of way to get 3 teams into the college football playoff, that would be a huge step forward.
Yeah.
That needs to happen.
Well, ESPN put out their future power rankings yesterday, and they value teams based on returning quarterback, likelihood of a multi-year QB on roster, offensive line, defensive line, roster management, star power, and coaching staff. The 68th worst team in the P4, Stanford. So Stanford, that's the bar. Stanford's, by ESPN's power ranking, Stanford is the worst team in the P4. West Virginia, though, is 66th. That's not good, right? Even with Rich Rod back. You look at 65, the UCF Knights. That's not good. Okay, but now 64 is going to be somebody other than the Big 12, right? Wrong. That at number 64, that'd be Arizona. You start looking and you're like, okay, well, let's get into the 50s to find another. No, you don't have to go very far. 62nd, Oklahoma State. Of which, and I think this is really important. ESPN says Mike Gundy is still there, but stands on the thinnest ice entering his 21st season, leading his alma mater.
I'm a man.
Oklahoma State has a new group of position coaches, and that includes Kevin Johns, a former offensive coordinator, working with quarterbacks. So they don't think, and I know Horny James wants to come in and tell you they got the best coaches anybody's ever seen on that staff. And Hoss Henge is just,
stay hard.
He's the next Preston Stone.
Dude, clean cut.
Right? But you look at this and you say to yourself, how does ESPN feel about Oklahoma's quarterbacks? Oklahoma State went through a full reset on offense and will enter the fall with 2 mostly unproven quarterbacks.
Ain't no reset.
Including Hoss Henge and Zane Flores competing for the job.
Bro, are you serious?
Likelihood of multi-year quarterbacks. Not likely, because a lot depends on 2025. But Oak State had an unbelievable portal, and Oak State brought in the best. We only hire the best people at Oak State.
Bro. Dude.
What's up, big bro?
But then 57 is Cincinnati.
And their new football facility.
Listen to all of these Big 12 teams that are so far down the rung I don't like you have Kansas at 50. Kansas is at 50, right? You're behind UCLA and Vanderbilt. You're behind Boston College, Virginia Tech, Pitt at 45, right? North Carolina and Bill Belichick's girlfriend at 44. That to me says that this league doesn't get a lot of respect. And you keep climbing and you ask, oh, well, there's TCU at 38, right? And I'm like, okay, Auburn is at 37. Colorado's at 35, right? No, Shedeur Sanders produced a record-setting 2-year run at Colorado. However, the former Buff star is now with the Cleveland Browns, who do not have a starting quarterback. Liberty transfer Caden Salter, who led the Flames to an undefeated regular season and a Fiesta Bowl appearance, enters his final year of eligibility. That's a little scary. That is a little scary. That you're behind Duke football. Baylor at 32. Right? Like it's crazy to me that Baylor is 32. You get into the top 30 of the P4, now you feel like you're impressive. Okay, well, there's Utah at 30, who they say after 2 very difficult seasons at quarterback impacted by Cam Rising, Utah moved forward with Devin Dampier, a dynamic dual threat who earned first-team All-Mountain West honors at New Mexico in 2024. So ESPN's very high on Utah, but they have Texas Tech at 29. 29. Are you crazy? If Texas Tech, do you guys believe there are 28 better teams in the country than Texas Tech?
Who are the teams directly ahead of them? According
28,
to this?
Texas A&M. 27, Oklahoma. 26, USC.
I mean,
25, BYU. Jake Retzloff is set to return after starting for BYU's 11-win team last fall, although his status could change depending on the civil lawsuit filed against him by a woman alleging he raped and strangled her in 2023.
No big deal. No big deal. No big deal, bro.
This is troubling. This is what I'm telling you, is that you start looking at some of these teams like Iowa State at 19. You've got K-State at 21. I think that the two things can be true at the same time. I think Big 12 football is going to have a resurgent power year this year. But is ESPN wrong for ranking Big 12 teams mostly in the bottom half of the Power Four?
No,
they're not.
No. And I think the hard part is that like I would love to see Texas Tech be much better this year and for the NIL spending to pay off and turn into wins and all that. But I think it's difficult. Like you have to prove that you can go out and win ball games and that you actually are that good. And that's why I say, like, no, I'm not confident Texas Tech is better than SC right now. They're gonna have to show me that. I'm not confident that they're just all of a sudden better than Auburn, let's say.
But how do you have? And again, I'm just gonna say, okay, so if we've got BYU, what did I say? BYU is 26, I think. If you've got BYU at 25, excuse me, you're telling me BYU is better than USC? Okay. BYU at 25, Texas Tech's at 29. Does that math to anybody?
No.
You have a much better quarterback situation at Tech, right, with Baron Morton.
Well, I just think people like, clearly this article was written with the idea that Jake has still got the option to play, or that's still a possibility. And I just don't think it is. But, maybe ESPN knows something we don't.
Baron Morton's in his NFL draft year. You would expect him to show up rocked out, right?
Stay hard.
You would expect
Clean
that,
cut.
right? I would expect their defense to be unbelievable. I mean, Terrell Tillman, and I understand that D-line has a lot of transfers on it, but you're just running your face into alignment all day. That doesn't take a lot of chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be interesting. I think Howard Sampson and Hunter Zambrano, who you guys don't know, he's from Illinois State, which is obviously a small football school, but they're loaded, dude. They are loaded. And you look at Lee Hunter, David Bailey, Romello Height, like you look at all these dudes, they're going to be much better at Texas Tech. And I apologize to our faithful in Provo. Texas Tech's a better football team than you are. I think they're more talented. Let that piss you off.
I mean,
hey, if that pisses you off, I'm here for it, dude. Right? They finished number 2 in the national rankings in the portal. I mean, that is unbelievable. And if Cody Campbell keeps putting out that kind of cash for Tech, they're not going to look back. Look how much money Texas Tech is spending in softball.
Yeah,
for crying out loud.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Cody Campbell's wife played softball, maybe at Tech, if I remember right. So he's got the
Cody Campbell, the super donor at Texas Tech.
Yeah,
but my point is, I look at this and then I go to the top 5 in this ranking. Who's surprised that it's Texas number 1? I'm not.
Nobody.
Who's surprised that you have Ohio State at number 2? Well, I'm not, right? I mean, I look at Julian Sand. I'm expecting Julian Sand to be a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is everything that you want. Obviously, he was an Alabama kid who left when Saban left, and he's everything that you want. You look at number 3. I mean, Georgia is everything that you need. And I guess it depends on how you look at Gunnar Stockton and how you look at that offense. And as he developed, is he more ready than he was after Carson Beck melted down his elbow? I guess we'll find out. But dudes, I am telling you now that guys like Micah Morris, Drew Bobo, those guys have to be monsters for Georgia to win. And I'm a little surprised, frankly, that Oregon is 4th. I thought Oregon would be a little further down. But Dante Moore, is Dante Moore ready to be a big-time quarterback at Oregon? He better be.
He better be.
Right, because what is this, his 3rd year? And he's bounced around now from UCLA. Like, you feel like they definitely have to be good, but Dan Lanning's got a hell of a staff. He puts dudes in the NFL, right? And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they do. And then rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, that team sucks.
JC and his pop's favorite team.
Yeah.
The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, baby. Let's do this
Notre
thing.
Dame, our mother.
Oh, that's right. We don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, you guys suck.
I think it's going to be CJ Carr.
Well, that's the issue, isn't it?
I think it's going to be CJ Carr, and I think that's going to be a real issue. But you look at Knapp and Jagosa on the offensive line. Forget it. We're monsters up there. We're monsters up there.
Yeah, you're going to be able to run the football. The question is how explosive is the passing game.
Well, Malachi Fields and Will Pauling had better be what we need them to be. And Pauling's a stud. He's a transfer from Wisconsin. He's a stud. But Jeremiah Love has got to stay healthy. And I think if he stays healthy, he'll be legitimately, I would think right now, him and Arch Manning are the top 2. Right? I mean, that's who's going to be in New York.
I would guess.
At the very least. But all of this to say, you got to go pretty far down the list to find a team in the Big 12 that anybody thinks has an opportunity to win. When Alabama's 10th, and I think Alabama is going to be just fine. Having Ty Simpson step in for Jalen Milroe, and I'm assuming Ty Simpson, because I don't think Austin Mack is going to do that. But looking at Ty Simpson, I would think, but you got to go pretty far down the list at 12 at Arizona State. And I'm telling you, how does Arizona State bounce back without smash face in the backfield? Yeah, I don't know.
It's a great question.
Right? And now all of a sudden, I understand that Sam Leavitt's back. He's got experience. You feel like, hey, this is a kid that should be able to carry Arizona State. But without Cam Scadaboo back there, is there anybody who believes that's not going to be the same football team? Do you believe now that Sam Leavitt, who most people have ranked as the number one quarterback in this league, which I think is a bunch of garbo, but hey, are you really telling me that Sam Leavitt all of a sudden is going to be in position to carry this team, and he's the quarterback that can lead the Big 12 to the college football playoff?
Yeah, people are saying he's got like the best arm in the Big 12, and like all I'm saying is he better have the goods, dude. I'm not saying he's terrible or he sucks or anything like that, but there's a difference between being, you know, a mediocre quarterback that was carried by an NFL running back versus, you know, hey, you were a run first team with an NFL running back and now you get to shine now that he's gone. I mean, that's just two different things. So that's what I'm saying. Like, whether it's Texas Tech or Arizona State or whoever you want to point to, the proof ultimately is in the pudding. But I think the Big 12 has a chance to make a splash this year. And I think that you know, you finally have a situation where multiple teams really should be vying to win the conference. Like that's what we're looking at on paper. So it'd be nice if that panned out.
All right, let's go to the comment section on the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks. I would like to point out that when certain on this show tell you not to do certain things, you should probably take heed. How'd you do on Prize Picks last night, Jake?
I broke even.
Okay, so you won 2 or 3.
Yeah.
What's the one that lost? Can you refresh my memory? Go ahead and...
yeah, it looks like Prize Picks is telling me Halliburton won.
Okay, I didn't say who won. I said, what's the one?
Anita Dickinson.
What's the one that lost?
Looks like Angel Reese the other night lost.
Yeah, no, last night, Jake.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Well, it looks like, looks like
SGA free throws.
Okay, all right, yeah.
I mean, did I not tell you? Did I believe I said to you, if you take SGA free throws, he's going to gape you, right? I believe I said that.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not going to do it because I told you SGA is not getting to the free throw line. Right?
2 holes.
Yeah, I told you that 2 holes. Did I not?
Don't fuck.
I said, don't take him. Oh, free throw getter. No, he's not.
Merchant.
No, he's not.
Come on, man. What is he talking about?
You can only lead the jackass to the pile of crap. You can't make him eat it. Right?
I just try to stand strong.
I'm sure you do. Not everybody's as dominant as I am.
Because I don't want them to see me down.
Right. Which is why, screw you, Alex Caruso.
And it sucks.
I needed Alex Caruso to give me one more bucket. 8.5 points. He had 8. Other than that, dominated with... Are we going to play this video? I want it to be clear. I don't want to play this video. I want you guys to know.
Bro, this is 2 minutes of greatness.
This is 2 minutes and 26 seconds of your life that you can never get back, because certain people on this show
I'm here to entertain
like
you
players
guys
who aren't superstars. They like certain people on this show, like NBA talent, who are not really that talented.
Oklahoma City Thunder, what happened? Someone better get on the phone with the president, because the Taliban has fully taken over. You better take cover. You better hide the kids. You better call for backup. The Pacers might fuck around and actually do this thing. The Taliban is strong enough to take out Osama bin Laden. Let's go through some of the most wanted members of the Taliban, starting with number 9. This man is everywhere you don't think he is. He'll ambush you when no one's looking. Always expect the unexpected. This man could be in SEAL Team fucking 6. He's literally everywhere. Send this man into a mission solo. Put him in a foxhole. He'll be in and out like a demon's whisper. Bring this man to war. Look at the heart. Look at the soul. Look at the effort. Who needs the NBA logo to be Jerry West when it could be TJ McConnell? TJ McConnell came from this dude's nutsack. Look right here. He's camping in a bush, pops out of nowhere, kills Caruso. Just like that. If he's doing this while the leader of the Haliband's on the bench, I don't think there's any stopping this team. The second member of the Haliband we go over, a man who goes by the name Benedict Mathurin, born in 2002, pulled off the unthinkable tonight. I don't know what kind of witchcraft magic the Pacers do pregame, but this kid went for 27 points and only played 5 minutes. They also have 2 snipers who can pick you off when it matters most in Nemhard and Neesmith. And in the biggest possession of the game, Chet Holmgren needs to find a bag and start putting fries in it. I don't know if the Thunder need to call in an airstrike, find a UAV, or just retreat. Either way, the Haliban is taking over fast. If you told me this would be the graphic last night after Game 3, I would say you're out of your mind. Mathurin and McConnell, Pippen and Jordan. This series, do you know Game 3 winners in a 1-1 series in the finals go on to win that series over 80% of the time? The Oklahoma City Thunder were minus 600.
I cannot tell you how excited Jake was. He walked into our office building today. Dude, you got to hear this, bro. Bro, Haliban. Haliban. Came from this guy's balls.
The nomenclature is nutsack.
He came from this guy's nutsack. He was so excited about this. We're playing it on the show. We're playing it on the show.
Bro,
when we do prize picks, we're playing it on the show.
Hilarious.
Hilarious. Zona Tucson, TJ McConnell and Benedict Mathurin, both from former Arizona Wildcats. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So is Book Richardson. I hate the Indiana Pacers, which is why they're going to win, because I'm not allowed to have nice things in sports. Jake's face is the color of his shirt. Salmon is back.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's one of the funniest videos I've ever seen.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Is the narrating the video related to BDM? Kind of sounds like Will Ferrell doing his Harry Carey bit. So true. So true. How is Halliburton taken over? He didn't take over. He didn't. Benedict Mathurin had 27 points last night. He was their top scorer. No one saw that coming. If Benedict scores more than 20 each game in the series, they'll win it. I agree with that. I agree with that. I do. You know, listen, I don't hate the Haliban. I just can't stand them. And I hope they never win another game or score another point.
Yeah, but you're not an OKC fan.
No, I'm not. That's why the NBA Finals suck.
That's correct.
Did you guys see this? And I know we're trying to do prize picks here, but, you know, did you guys see this? Bro, NBA Finals Game 2, 8.76 million viewers, lowest Game 2 since the 2020 bubble, and the only NBA Finals since 2007 where viewership dropped after Game 1. We watched Game 1, we were like, nah, I'm good. We're not watching this, right? Like it's so bad. And this is the chart that you put up yesterday about viewership trending down. You can't tell me
that's
that
rough, bro.
The Haliban is good for the NBA. You can't tell me Pacers and Thunder is good for the NBA. I don't buy that for a second.
No way.
It just does not make any sense to me. It also doesn't make any sense to me that Prize Picks is bohicaing me by not allowing me to pick Aaron Judge tonight. Is he not on the scorecard? Is he not in the lineup? Like, what sense does that make?
No idea.
That doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right at all.
Let me see if he's on mine.
I may have to go Javier Baez with a hit, run, and an RBI. Because I mean, I don't even know what else you do here. I don't even know what else to do here. I don't think he's playing.
Maybe not.
I mean, maybe we go Adley Rutschman.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's a little surprising.
Yeah, it is. It is a little surprising. Total bases for all of his stuff is demons tonight. Dude, this is rough tonight in Major League Baseball. There's not a whole lot to choose from. Who's the worst team in baseball tonight? Who are the White Sox playing? The White Sox are playing Houston.
Houston.
The Houstons. I can never take that midget Altuve.
That midget.
I cannot bring myself to do that. Christian Walker's 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I mean, we could do that. Against the White Sox, we could do that. Let's do that. Okay, here are my prize picks for tonight. I've got Jamison Tyone, 5-pitcher strikeouts more against Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah.
PCA. 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs more. Christian Walker, 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs more. $20 to win 110.
Nice.
Prize picks. America's favorite daily fantasy app. Jake can't screw him up tonight because the Halaban is off.
Right.
Which thankfully for you, the Halaban is off because you and I both know you'd be like, oh, SGA free throws, bros. He's a machine. Isn't that what you'd be saying?
It would be, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. What do you got on prize picks tonight?
I'm trying to find my third one. Right now, I'm taking Will Warren of the Yankees to have more than 5.5 strikeouts against the Royals. PCA for more than 1.5 total bases. And trying to find...
Is prize picks down right now?
Google real quick. Is prize picks Google Cloud based?
No. Lineup submitted. Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
All right. I'm just checking, bro.
Close.
Just checking, bro.
Take Altuve, go Stro. You mean screw the Stros, right?
Why the hell would I take that short-ass cheater?
You know. Stadium Guy James says, I love this series. It's very competitive. I really think it's going 6 or 7. I hate this series. Midweek Coug, what's up, bro? I want OKC to never win anything. Well, as a PNW guy, I would agree with that. If you're a Pacific Northwest, PNW, Pacific Northwest, Seattle guy, yeah, you hate OKC. Big Ponif. Have the Knicks asked to speak to Hardy or Carlisle yet? No, just every other coach in the league. How is it that the Knicks can't find a guy to interview for this gig? Like, they've asked all the top coaches in the NBA and all their teams have said no. You know.
Yeah,
all of them have said no.
I don't know.
You don't know what?
I don't know why people are denying them. And I took my third one was Tarek Skubal.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because
Goblin, 7.5.
Joseph Harper sent me his prize picks.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Framber Valdez.
Hey, Framber.
42.5 pitcher fantasy points more. They're going against the White Sox, is what it is. Will Warren, 5.5 pitcher strikeouts on a demon.
That's what I have too.
And then Tarek Skubal, 8 pitcher strikeouts less. He went less. Okay. I actually think you're probably going to go 2 or 3 on that. I hope you flex played it. That's what you should be doing. I did them. Yeah, I saw him, Joseph. Fight on natties. Go Dodgers. We need to pick up more good players. No, you don't.
No, you really don't.
Because you're going to pay them into like the next universe. I am sure the Bucks would grant permission to talk to Doc. When they do that for every team. When they do, how are they going to get rid of the Giannis? Like, how are you going to allow Giannis to wind up on another team?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's gone back and forth.
Would you?
At one point, yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, I think, the Bucks are in a situation where that core, you traded away the core, right? Like, and obviously, they're like, once you got rid of Drew Holiday, that kind of changed things. And then the Chris Middleton injuries happened, and it's just not the same. In my opinion, you got your championship out of him. It's time to get value. It's time to trade that car in, right? Time to trade him, get your picks, restock, and move forward. To me, small market teams, that's what you have to do. If you're able to draft somebody like that and develop him and turn him into what he's been, he earned you a championship. Move along.
Yeah. Whoa. Stadium Guy James, if I were the Knicks, I would go after Dan Hurley. He's pretty much already said no. He's a tremendous coach.
Wait, is this him putting his vex on Dan?
I think it is. He's a tremendous coach, and his players love him. The Knicks need a players coach who can inspire them to play better. They need everything but no. They need everything other than a players coach. There is no other players coach than Tom Thibodeau. And one of the biggest problems was he wouldn't crack down on Karl Anthony Towns.
Mm-hmm.
And it caused, allegedly, it caused a rift in that locker room because Towns didn't play defense. And there were some people that were, a little chapped ass over the fact that little man wouldn't pass the ball in the fourth quarter. But it's fine. It's fine. And I think Rick Brunson being on that coaching staff has to come to an end as well. There was some weird science in that Knicks locker room. Jalen Brunson, the starting point guard for the Knicks. His dad is Rick Brunson. Rick Brunson was an assistant coach with the Knicks the last several years. And players were not happy with Rick Brunson and felt like there was massive favoritism. Let's see. Paxton says Spieth is heating up. Jordy he's got to putt better. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge Jordan Spieth guy. I'd hit that.
Stay hard.
But the bottom line is Jordan does not putt well enough to win tournaments.
Well, and most of the time he gets in trouble because his driver lets him down. So, his driver gets awry, his irons are usually dialed and he's able to escape that. And then he can't finish with the putter. And that to me is the problem. And I think that I was a little surprised that in round 1 today at the U.S. Open, we didn't see more emphasis put on hitting the fairway. I think
they tried.
Well, but here's my thought though. I understand that these holes, these are long golf holes. There's no question about it. But my point was, hey, that everyone's talking about over par winning the tournament this year. It's going to be close to that. There are a lot of instances on this course where if you take less than driver and just put yourself in the fairway, you're going to be far better off.
But look at a guy like Dustin Johnson who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn on the front, but on the back, the guy's red hot. Now, you're going to think I'm crazy. He's at +4, and he's very much in this tournament to make the cut because he's been red hot on the back. But you look at some of the guys on the board, Jordan Spieth -1, Cam Young 2 under, Rombo 2 under. If John Rahm stays hot here, if he can get to 3 or 4 under by the time he's done today and he's on the 13th, if he can get to 3 or 4 under, John Rahm's got every opportunity to win this tournament. Because make no mistake about it, the live golf guys are disappointing because they've lost their edge. They haven't lost their talent. They've lost their edge. But Rombo's been in these situations for the last 2 years, and he hasn't played well. And you can see there's just a different bit of intensity today in Rombo out there on the court. I think John Rahm has looked very good. Patrick Reed with that albatross has him at 2 under right now. Patrick Reed is very dangerous because remember, Patrick Reed was in contention at the Masters. He actually played good golf at the Masters.
He finished 3rd? It was
something
Rory
like that.
Rose and then Patrick Reed, I think.
And I would also remind you, John Rahm, as I say nice things about him, who am I? Horny James. John Rahm just bogeyed. So he drops from 2 over to 1 over. But I'm telling you, this is going to be a very long tournament. And if a guy like Jordan Spieth, he's got a par putt right here to save himself and stay at 1 under. If he's going to win this tournament or contend to do so, he has to make that putt the entire tournament. And if you're an amateur, if you're a hack golfer like Jake and I cannot tell you, go practice your 6-foot putts because that's the difference. We've talked about this out. Like Jake's looking for a new putter right now. I am in the Odyssey awesomeness, if you will, the AI1 Jailbird Cruiser, which I think has been fantastic. I'm actually putting with it really well. But you look at the way these guys lock in and make their 6-foot putts. They continuously drain that 6-footer, and it saves them how many strokes around?
Tons.
It's massive.
10 to 15 strokes.
It is massive. Fight on Natties. Had an early lunch, best Castilian style rotisserie chicken I've had in my life. Perfect amount of spice. Chef's kiss. Can I just tell you, Jake asked me if I wanted to go to Chipotle today. And I said, no. I have food prep for the week that I need to eat. Mainly gold potato wedges that we baked. I say we, that my wife baked. Rotisserie chicken and scrambled eggs was my lunch today. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I loved it. What is happening with Rory? He's done. He's not done. Rory McIlroy actually played very well today. But this course does not help those who play very well. You have to play elite golf. How many fairways did Rory McIlroy miss by a foot or less off the tee? A lot. And when you miss by 5 feet, which he did 3-4 times, you're going to struggle here. If this was Pebble or if this was Wingfoot, if this was pretty much any other U.S. Open course, Rory McIlroy today is fine. He's probably in the top 10. But the fact of the matter is, what was he, 6 over on the back? Because he couldn't hit a fairway.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not going to hit fairways off the tee, you're not going to contend here. He is, in my opinion, he's still the best golfer in the world. But you got to play like that. You look at Scotty earlier this year. Why aren't people asking if Scotty's done? And what's wrong with Scotty? And, well, because guys go through seasons during the season. And right now, frankly, if I had to grade Rory McIlroy and what's wrong with Rory, I think Rory's coming off of winning the Masters, and there was no way that he wasn't going to have a massive letdown out of that tournament. He's not playing enough, and he's kind of being a red ass right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's just got to get through this season. But you look at some of the guys that wound up, over par today. There's a lot of big names. Guys like Brian Harmon, over par. Colin Morikawa through 14 is +1. Victor Hovland, Tyrrell Hatton, Rasmus Højgaard. Look at how many big names are over par here. And you just begin to understand that guys like Xander Schauffele, one of the best players in the world, has not been one of the best players in the world this year.
Yeah, he's had the injury bug too and just hasn't quite found his stride.
+2, shot a 72 today.
Mm-hmm.
At Oak Hills. Is that bad?
Yeah.
That's not, I don't think that's bad.
No, I don't think that's bad. And I think, Xander was one of the few guys that I saw on the back who started mitigating risk. I mean, he had, I believe, four holes left in his round. He was 2 over, and you started seeing him taking out irons and less than driver off the tee to have an emphasis on being in the fairway. Because again, if you're in the fairway, you're fine. And I'm telling you, you're going to see that come out more and more as this tournament goes on. There are going to be times where, and I'm not saying every hole, but what I am saying is that there are certain holes on this course where the reality is they've built the fairway in a way that it shrinks up right around 300 yards purposefully. So hit it 270 and then hit it 220. That's what you have to do.
Yeah. And I'm just telling you that you look at Scotty. I think Scotty's +2 through 14 as well. Scotty isn't hitting fairways. You know what he's hitting? Just about every fairway bunker. And in this joint, if you're in the bunker, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting your second shot's not going to be quality if you're in a bunker at Oakmont. That's just not going to happen. And then what do we see? Jordan Spieth steps up on the tee and puts one right down the middle. And I would love, there is nothing more that golf needs than Jordan Spieth to come out and start winning again. And I'll also say this is going to be an absolute marathon mentally. This tournament is not going to be won it can be lost today, certainly. But This tournament will not be won today. And I love Sung J M, and I think he's really good for the sport. But I hate to break it to you, he ain't winning this tournament. He's just not. And I think when you start looking at the way that this thing goes round and round, I think it's very difficult to sit here. Like Sung J M now is 3 under through 13. Well, he was just 5 under, and now he's given a couple back. It's one fairway. And that's, we talked about this yesterday on the show. What pisses me off about Oakmont so much? One driver shot can ruin your entire round.
Yep.
That happened to Rory today. I think he had a 7 on a par 5 or something like that.
He did.
I think it's very difficult. It's just a really difficult course. I'm thrilled because one of my favorite golfers in the world is Brooks Koepka. Brooks is even through 16. Thrilled with that. And I'll be interested to see how it all plays out. But
I think it's been a good tournament so far.
yeah, I would agree with that. Come on, Spieth, close strong. I would love it. I would absolutely love it. David Persons, hello, bud. Staying out of the rough is the key. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. My concern for TCU is they lost Josh Becht and Savion Williams. Who is going to step up and fill those shoes? Well, I mean,
as an Oklahoma State fan, I would guess you'd want TCU to struggle, right? I mean, that's.
I just don't think that Spike Dykes' kid is not going to sit around and hope. Not when his job is on the line. If they have another mediocre season, Dykes is in trouble. And I think that you have to figure out, you simply can't continue to plod methodically through your football seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And if we learned anything from how bad Utah and Oak State were last year, it's because, in my opinion, your coaches weren't willing to change. Now, we'll see how that compares and contrasts, because Oak State still has not changed and Utah has significantly changed. And I think, obviously, with what we're seeing, every day we're hearing something out of Utah athletics. They signed 2 massive gymnasts today. So, like, they're putting that out there. Like, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how much better is Josh Hoover this year from last year. That's what's going to determine their success and failure. Josh Hoover, his ability to deliver the football, and that offense is going to be, my guess is, if they throw for 350 yards a game, which I think is very possible, they're going to be in contention to win the conference. I don't know. I don't know how they wouldn't.
Yeah, I think
if he throws for 4,500 yards this year, how do they not win the conference?
It's a huge number.
Well, he threw for what, 4,000 last year?
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying he can. I'm just saying it's a huge number, and I think that, again, I think, again, the offense isn't the problem for TCU. The defense is the problem. It's the Texas Tech Abilene game, right? You can score as much as you want, but if you can't stop anybody, it doesn't matter.
And I would remind you, James, they got Joseph Manjack from USC, who I think the guy absolutely came to TCU to be a number one. And Jordan Dwyer, while you guys probably have no idea who that is, he had 12 touchdowns last year at Idaho on almost 100 catches. Like, they're going to be fine. And I'd remind you also that Eric McAllister's back. Their offense isn't going to be the issue. Do they tackle, and can they compete physically on defense? Because this conference is going to be absolutely ball-breaking defensively.
Yeah.
It is going to be a very difficult conference to, Yeah. Kim Coulter, hello. I'll try this again. It's Cody's business partner, John Sellers' wife, who played softball at Tech. Sellers also. Okay.
Well, I was just saying that because they've been crushing it in like, everyone just looked at the football portal, but I was looking at like multiple portals today, and because obviously they've gotten all this money in the athletic department. So I was looking like, hey, is it just football? Like, are they doing this in other?
And that's a great point. Sellers played. You guys understand that John Sellers played at Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he there in the lock a kid in the Connex box era?
I think so.
I'm pretty certain.
Yeah.
Right. He was on Mike Leach's team. So they're well heeled, and that guy is a billionaire. Like, TCU recruited pretty well in those positions. So we'll see. I think what they brought in the portal at wide receiver is more than enough. If you include that in your returning players, it's more than enough. More than enough.
Yeah.
There is this guy in Fort Worth named Josh Hoover who should lead the team to where they went in 2022.
What?
You can't think that way.
What?
You cannot think that way. I'm telling you, forget 2022 ever happened. This team shouldn't. I think college football teams routinely make the mistake of chasing ghosts of greatness gone by. And if you're a TCU fan, 2022 was one of the most disappointing outcomes you've had. because there's nothing worse than getting there and just absolutely having your teeth curb stomped by your opponent, whether they knew your signs or not. I would.
Again, everyone's focused on the offense. It's not about Josh.
I'm telling you, it's not about that. And I think it will be very. I think Sonny Dykes is in a place where he has to win right now. I think there's a lot of coaches like that. Kyle Whittingham,
Mike Gundy.
I don't speak his name anymore on this show. I think Witt, the Mullet, Joey, 8-Ball,
Kenny,
Dykes. They have a 5-win season this year. Does he get fired? No.
Yeah, but that would certainly be really disappointing.
There are high expectations at Arizona State.
Yeah.
But again, I think you can look.
I think 8-Ball's got a lot of expectations. People are talking them up like they're going to be a 10-win team.
K-State. You know how many people think K-State's going to win the conference? I mean, and I agree. I look at Baylor's schedule. You guys, Baylor's schedule is.
Yeah, we've talked about this. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy.
If you don't win 10 games at Baylor, you should just pack your shit and get out. Like, I'm not even trying to be a jerk about it. Listen to Baylor's schedule. Auburn at SMU, Samford, Arizona State, Oak State. Right there, you should be 5-0. Right? Because you're an unbelievable team. And your non-con is at home against Auburn. 5-0.
Should be.
Home for Arizona State, 6-0. At Oak State, 7-0. K-State. Or wait, excuse me. I got that wrong. 5-0. 5-0 after Oak State. I think you're going to lose to K-State. 5-1.
Gosh, really?
At TCU. Yeah, K-State's going to, I think K-State is top 3 teams in the conference. And I know nobody wants to hear it, but yeah. I think the best team in this conference is undetermined. But I think the group of teams that have an argument there, Texas Tech, if they can gel all that together.
Avery's going to have to show me he's that dude, especially in big games.
What do you mean?
Like he for K-State. I think that you're talking
Avery
about,
Johnson.
Yeah, Avery Johnson.
He's at Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding.
I don't know. I feel like Texas Tech should beat them, but it's all paper right now.
I feel like I hesitate to say it out loud. You know who I'm going to say I think is one of the best teams in the conference? Houston. No, I'm kidding. Utah. I think Utah, K-State, Texas Tech, and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think that's the group. I want to see Arizona State without Scadaboo. Levitt's going to have to show me he can do it as the guy.
Agreed.
Because he's the guy.
Agreed.
But I'm telling you, we can all sit here and we can fantasize and forearm strengthen about, Dave Aranda came back. No, they allowed him to come back. And how many times have you seen a coach that should have been fired come back and win? Not often. And when you close, listen to their last 5 games. At Cincinnati, this is Baylor. At Cincinnati, UCF, Utah, at Arizona, Houston. Arizona is probably going to be the worst team in the league.
Yeah. And schedule lines that out.
So how do you not win 10 games? Because I think your only potential losses are K-State, TCU, and Utah. 3. That's the totality of their potential losses. That's it. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Because if I look at their wins, Auburn, SMU, Samford, Arizona State, Oak State, Cincinnati, UCF, Arizona, and Houston. So all you have to do is find a way to beat K-State, really K-State and Utah. Those two games, I think those are the big ones.
Yep.
How do you not win 10 games if you're Baylor?
Because you're Baylor and because you're 8-ball. That's how.
Phil said, looks like Conundrum got filtered again. How did he get filtered?
Well, I think we all know how.
He did get filtered.
Good job, dude.
At some point, it'll be your last time. I'm a little surprised you're still allowed to comment. But hey, Johnny, I think Houston will be better than they were last year, but will have a tough time making a bowl. They have to be. They do. Retired stockbroker says, Monty, I did bite on the Houston joke. Sorry. My bad. My bad. Shouting. Why not Colorado not rank in the Big 12 conference? Because I think there's too much change. Colorado very well could be. He's got a buttload of talent there. And I think he's got the best all-around coaching staff in the conference. So they absolutely could be. But when you're replacing a guy like Shedeur Sanders.
And I also think the Big 12 is
Travis
better.
Hunter.
It's better. The Big 12 is better, dude. The Big 12 is better this year. There's no doubt.
I think that's true. Utah will be better than a 5-7 season. The margin we lost to teams is 10 points or less, except CU. Well, I think if you look at Utah and the complete change on offense, everything they do is different. It's arguably the best offensive line in the country now. If not, it's certainly the best offensive line in the conference. It's probably top 5 in the country, but that's all subjective. But you start looking at their schedule. I mean, they come out with at UCLA, Cal Poly, and then at Wyoming. They've got some real potholes. I mean, going to Laramie, I don't care who you are, when it is, what year it is. Anytime you go to Laramie, it is a very difficult place to go and play. But is Utah not uniquely qualified to go there and be fine because they already live at altitude?
Yes, and they're a tough team.
And one of the things that really hurts people at altitude is in Laramie is altitude. So I think that's interesting. Then they've got Texas Tech in week 4. At West Virginia is never an easy out. West Virginia is not going to be great, but you go from Salt Lake City to Morgantown, bro, that's a lot of coal you got to burn to get there.
Bro, I just got a question for everyone.
It's a lot of coal you got to.
Yeah, it's clean coal and burning coal,
toothbrush and a hose,
Teslas, and we get it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What were you going to say?
When is week 0?
At your mom's house on August 30th.
Oh man, we're almost there.
We're almost there.
We are almost there.
We're about 2 months away. Utah's schedule: at UCLA, win; at Cal Poly, win; at Laramie, win; Texas Tech. Game of the year. It certainly is the best game in the conference in month 1. It's at Utah, so I'm going to give that to Utah. So there's 4. At West Virginia, 5. Arizona State and Utah, 6. At BYU, 7. Colorado, 8. Cincinnati, 9. At Baylor,
10.
Baylor's the best team anybody's ever seen with Dave Aranda. Ask Oak State James.
Listen. If you think that Utah isn't taking that as a revenge game after what happened last year, you're out your damn mind.
K-State at Rice Eccles and
11.
at Kansas. They have a chance to go undefeated. Will they? Probably not. There are a lot of potholes on their schedule. They could lose 4 games. They could lose in Laramie. They could lose at home to Texas Tech. I could very easily see them losing at K-State. No doubt about it. There's no doubt that they could lose those games. There's just no question that they could lose. I don't see them losing to Colorado or Cincinnati. They got to go to Kansas, which I think is not at Gayha Field anymore. They could lose to Kansas as Kansas is shown. What?
Gayha Field.
Yeah. And where the scumbag Kansas City Chiefs play. Bless us all. And your mom.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can see 2 scripts for Utah. They have a legitimate chance to go undefeated.
And they stay healthy. We'll see.
But I could also see them losing 3-4 games.
Yeah.
Because their tough games are tough games. Could you imagine Preston Stone at Baylor?
Stay home.
Dude, I mean, the clean cutness would just be unbelievable. Bro.
Colorado Circus is going to have a hard time getting to 5 wins. I would not call it a circus. I think Colorado is... So when you say that, help me understand why you think they won't be good. Do you think they're not going to be fast? Do you think they're not going to be... Is it that you think they're not talented? Have you looked at their recruiting class? Have you looked at their portal class? Because if you're sitting here saying they're going to have a tough time going to a bowl game, my guess is you haven't spent 35 seconds looking at what they have coming in. That's just my guess. It is a little concerning that Deion is not well. I mean, and granted, he's had the toe issue for a while. But my belief is they're going to be in every game they play.
Mm-hmm.
You're not. Colorado is, and I'll just continue to say, Colorado is going to be a very tough out for everybody, as they should be. And when we start looking at, replacing Travis and Shedeur, I think that's Trav's new wife without a prenup, Hunter.
By the way, did you guys see that he bought, I believe it was a $3 million home?
$3.3 million home in
13 bedrooms.
Jacksonville. Yeah. So,
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see, but are they going to be fast? Yes. Draylon Miller is, I mean, that kid, I don't believe he puts his feet on the ground. I think he just floats. I'm pretty sure. But we'll see. Joseph Williams from Tulsa. I told you he was the best wide receiver in the portal, and he could have gone anywhere, and he went to Colorado. So I think it is. I think it's going to be very interesting to see, like, Jaheim Otis, the kid from Alabama who was a dominant defensive tackle at Alabama. Yeah, he transferred to Colorado. Like, it's those things that I think a lot of people don't look at. And I think, what were they, a 9-win team last year?
Right.
I think they looking at their schedule, Georgia Tech is going to be a very difficult game for them to win, but it's at Folsom, so they should win it. Delaware, Houston, Wyoming, BYU. I think they lose at TCU. I think they lose to Iowa State at home. They lose at Utah. They beat Arizona. They beat West Virginia. They lose to Arizona State. And they lose to Kansas State. I think they win 7 games. And there's a chance they could win 9 again. But
yeah, we'll have to see what the offense is. Just so different, dude. I think that's really hard to say how good or bad they'll be. I think everyone hates on them, and with all due respect to Buddy here, it's rich calling Colorado a circus as a USC fan. With all due respect, so
there is that too. I mean,
come on, dude.
Who's going on? Who's going on today? I keep getting calls to see if I want to sell my home, dude. In Vegas, the market there is absolutely insane. And there are not enough listings to support the number of people. The problem is Vegas is kind of upside down like everywhere else in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy, did Jordan just... No, right in the middle. Okay, great. Jordan Spieth is putting himself in position to contend for this tournament. It's going to be nice. He won't be near the cut line, at least if he continues to stroke it this way.
Gotta get stroked. Honestly, let's start stroking guys.
If he continues to stroke it this way, Jordan Spieth will not be near the cut line.
You just have to start stroking guys.
Yeah. You nailed it, Fight On. Might be the toughest schedule in the conference. Oh, I don't know about that.
For Colorado?
Yeah, I don't think they have all the heavyweights, right? But has anybody looked at, like, for instance, such as in, like, I think it's BYU. BYU's road schedule is back-to-back East Carolina at Colorado, at Arizona. Listen to this stretch. Utah, at Iowa State, at Texas Tech, TCU. That's way more difficult than anything Colorado has. I think that combination of games. Conversely, I think Iowa State's got one of the easiest schedules. K-State, South Dakota, Iowa. Their first road game is September 13th at Arkansas State. Then it's Arizona, at Cincinnati, at Colorado, BYU, Arizona State, at TCU, Kansas, Oak State. That's not a very difficult schedule. Just not a very difficult schedule. And you start looking at like TCU. I mean, at North Carolina, Abilene, SMU, Arizona, at Arizona State, Colorado, at K-State, Baylor, at West Virginia, Iowa State, at BYU, at Houston, Cincinnati.
See, that's not an easy run travel-wise. Like, you look at that, like,
it's a lot of miles.
Yeah, that's a lot of miles, bro.
It's a lot of miles.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think you look at like Oak State. I think Oak State is going to have trouble winning multiple conference games and being bowl eligible. UT Martin, at Oregon, Tulsa, Baylor. You have to win those first 3 of those 4 games. You have to beat Baylor, Tulsa, UT Martin. At Arizona, Houston, Cincinnati. At Texas Tech, at Kansas, K-State, at UCF, Iowa State. You had better win every game but Oregon leading up to the Texas Tech game. Because if that's the case, you'll be, 5-1, right? You'll be 6-1 at that point. You had better be bowl eligible before you go to Texas Tech. If you're not going to a bowl game. Because the only winnable game down the stretch is at UCF, who I agree is not going to be great. Because you're not beating Texas Tech, Kansas, K-State, or Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
I remind you, going to the bounce house when you're dripping sweat down your crack is never an easy way to win a football game. I'm just keeping it real with y'all.
Bruh.
Love you. Wow. And Donuts, a member for 23 months.
Nice.
Good to see you. Howdy. Hope the golf gods have been good to you. I have had stretches. I have had stretches this year where my iron play. I played 18 holes at my local golf course 2 weekends ago, and I didn't miss a green in regulation. And I shot 1 over par on the front and the back. I finished the entire 18 2 over par. The next week, I couldn't hit an iron if my life depended on it.
Mm.
And that's probably an exaggeration. Well, that was last weekend. Last weekend, my irons were not ideal. But then again, I had a 200-yard 6-iron that rolled within 10 feet of the hole.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's been okay. It's been okay. Good to see you in Donuts. Oak State James for $5. I've never said Baylor is the best team in the Big 12.
Okay, fuck you. How's that?
Yes, you have. Yes, you did. Yeah, you did. You did. And, if I'm saying it, that it did happen. Because I never bag on you and I never hold you down. But you did. Like Thursday, I think. A week ago-ish.
All you've talked about is how, they finished strong. They're winning the whole damn thing, Monty. Do you see Baylor last year? Oh, my God. They're amazing. I've seen the admin building that they built 27 years ago.
Oh my God, just like that. Oh.
Are you denying that you've said that? Oh, Monty.
Oh, Monty.
I was talking to 8-Ball at Buc-ee's the other night, and he was telling me.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Like, bro, you have been jock riding Baylor all spring and summer. Like, don't you even play
Macaque.
Me. Come on. And why do you keep talking about Preston Stone?
You know why.
He's still the cock on your thigh, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
He is.
Yes.
Hiscock.
But isn't he at like Northwestern? Where's Preston
Holden
Stone?
Middick.
I think where does Preston Stone? I thought he transferred from SMU. Am I wrong about that? Yeah, he plays for the Northwestern Wildcats.
Anita Dickenmain.
What are we even talking about?
Not to be confused with the Texas State Bobcats.
I don't understand like why if Preston Stone goes anywhere, it would be Oak State. Why didn't he go to Oak State already? Oh, that's right, because you've cursed him. You have cursed him so deeply he'll never complete another pass again.
Deep.
You absolutely have espoused greatness about Baylor. Stop it. Just stop it. Coach Prime, shake my head. Okay. I've got healthy QB Daniels as the most electric QB in the conference. Jalen Daniels is good.
Healthy, bro.
I agree. Mike Smith. To be fair, Colorado at times is a circus. They're a media circus. They get a lot of media attention. Not too many serious college teams have a bunch of random celebrities walking around their sidelines during games.
Yeah,
well, why is that a bad thing?
But here's the thing, and I don't even disagree with you, Mike. That's a fair point. But when SC fan comes in here and wants to say that Colorado's a circus, they're not referencing the celebrities.
No.
They're saying that it's a badly run program that in Prime only cares about Prime and just, that he's the biggest thing there. And that's not true. Deion Sanders works his ass off to make sure he's got a coaching staff that can develop these kids. And I think that's what helped them get to 9 wins. Now, as far as them having high-profile people on the sidelines, yeah, they do. They do. But I'm guessing you're not going to see that as much when they're not as good. I think that culture will be a little different.
Yeah. Yep, I would agree. The key word for KU is healthy. Daniels gets hurt every year, as do you with your Preston Stone love. That's a par 3, Monty, 287. It is for Jordan Spieth. TCU schedule is brutal. Is it brutal, though? North Carolina, Abilene, SMU. You should probably go 3-0 there. You're better than all 3 of those teams. Going to Tempe's not easy. Colorado at K-State, Baylor, at West Virginia, Iowa State, BYU, Houston, Cincinnati. I don't think that's brutal. I don't think that's brutal. Is Utah State still being investigated for Title IX? It's coming to an end. And they have with Bronco Mendenhall there, they're going to be in compliance on everything, down to how many salt crystals go in the shaker. The guy is absolutely a detail maven. I love Bronco Mendenhall. I think if he's your head coach, you're in good shape. Fight on Natty's. Jake, when's the last time we pulled any of the nonsense Colorado is doing? We're a serious football program, not a clicks program.
When's the last time?
How is Colorado a clicks program? See, and this is the hate on Colorado I don't understand. They were exponentially better than USC last year. Like, do you understand? Listen, you can hate on Colorado because they're on TV every week. I get that. You don't have to like how bright the lights are. I get that. But to degrade them because you don't like how flashy they are doesn't mean they're a bad football
And what
team.
do you mean nonsense that Colorado pulled? What does that mean, dude? Like, what is the inference
Any of the
there?
nonsense Colorado is doing?
Yeah, what does that mean, dude?
And if you're a serious football program since Lincoln got there, bro, you need to.
Like, do you understand
Listen.
how hypocritical this comment is, dude? You're a USC fan. You haven't won anything and have been a disappointment since Lincoln's been there. And now you finally decided to start investing in the program financially. And now what? Everything is saved? Bro, don't talk to me about Colorado or any other program until you figure your own stuff out. Maybe you should learn how to coach defense and how to tackle, and maybe Penn State wouldn't come to your house and beat you the way they did. Like, you're ripping a guy who just brought a program, a D1 college football program, from the grave and had a nice couple of seasons with his kid at quarterback. You've been over here as just some amazing program that USC's back. They're going to the Big Ten. They're going to win the Big Ten. Bro, you didn't even go to the college football playoff, dude.
And I taught my USC. I have a lot of friends
on.
and acquaintances that are USC alum. And as a Notre Dame, irrational Notre Dame fan, I often go back and forth with them. How was your quarterback last year? Oh, he was really good in Hattiesburg, and like he was really good in every other town in the SEC. And his name's Jackson Dart, and he's with the guy who should probably still be your head coach. Like, do you understand how bad it looks for Lincoln that Jackson Dart went that high in the NFL draft after dominating like that? Like, to go to Ole Miss and then travel around the SEC and blow dudes up. And good thing I just said up instead of blow.
Yeah, and then instead of just blow
To
dudes.
dominate
We're
the
in a
SEC
control
like that?
position.
Come on, man. Like, come on. Mike Smith, my IPF includes lots of lubricants and towels, and no, I don't know. Did he? Okay.
Well, I'm glad you clarified that.
If Texas State was in the Big 12, they could prove to be a top 5 in the state of Texas. Houston's a big disappointment. Houston is a big Texas State top. Zona Tucson 93. Fight on. It's a circus, and if your boy Riley doesn't put together a great season, you're going to be the laughing stock in the Big Ten. I would agree with that. Listen, I don't think Colorado football is everybody's favorite flavor. I don't have any delusions of grandeur. I don't know how you don't respect what he's done there. They were invisible. And then he had, inarguably last year, the best quarterback in the conference. The guy completed 74% of his passes. And he turned his offensive line around to average. Their defense was much better. Their wide receivers were probably, at the end of the day, top 3 groups in the Big 12. Like, he had a phenomenal year last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then all those dudes graduated, and he's replaced them seemingly with some guys who can run pretty fast. So it's all on the field, man. It's all on the field. Jeremiah Champion, who's paying a wedding planner? I don't know. Another fire show. Thank you.
You're lucky to have one today. Be grateful.
Replica. Good to see you, Replica. Fight on USC hasn't been a serious program since George W.'s first term. Okay. What I said, Oak State, James, what I said was Baylor has great facilities. Oh, man, the admin building? I got to tell you what.
The building is just incredible, man.
I've never seen window pane that much in that order stacked together.
When I was eating my roller food in Monty
let me
Copter
just tell you,
69, the roof structure
wow.
of that building is incredible.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Yay. They added a new football ops to their IP. Let me tell you about this football ops facility in the IPF. Like, I mean, the internal puffing flavor unit, you go in there and wow.
No El Monty's money.
Like, you're really basing how well Baylor's going to do on the field because they got an ops building built into an IPF.
I'm just surprised you haven't done a video on Cincinnati's new football facility, because that thing's a gem, dude.
No, I'm not playing your game. I'm not playing your game.
Schemers trying to control their little world.
I don't need you anyway. But Monty, let me tell you about Baylor's new IPF. I'm telling you, they built the Broyles admin building in there, and it's got this dungeon with wall chains and stuff. Dude, they'll never get caught again.
Some shit happened.
Okay. You know, I mean, Big Blue Horses. Who is the odds-on favorite to be Utah and BYU starting quarterback?
Well, I think it's pretty clear for Utah.
There is no odds-on favorite. It's Devin Dampier at Utah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They're going to have a competition at BYU to replace Retzloff. So we'll see. Joseph Harper. Sounds like James has had too much Preston. Stay hard. You know, which is fine. Does it still bend to the left, James? Yes. Preston Stone is at Northwestern. If Ryan Field was finished, oh, here we go. Well, let me tell you about Ryan Field, man. They have this
Hiscock.
and it looks like an eggplant up there from afar. But because I've seen it in person, I know that that's Preston Stone's cock up there.
Anita Dick and May.
Right on top of Ryan Field. And it's so big, they're gonna build their IPF on top of Preston's cock.
What are we doing?
The cock.
That would be an awesome place to play with their temporary stadium. It's terrible. Well, they're building a new facility. So Kansas finished the season stronger. I believe they did, but don't tell Oak State James that because Baylor's going undefeated this year. Prime is no Lincoln, or is Lincoln no Prime? Exactly. And donuts. Micron announced another $200 billion fab plant and $50 billion in research and development. Micron invested in material science at Boise. Let's see if the private equity factors in. Very well could be. I'm telling you, Boise.
Don't.
I shouldn't get it because Boise fan tends to lose their mind. They tend to lose their mind. Will the Oilers get their ass kicked again? I don't want to talk about it.
Bro.
Wasikowski, Prime is overrated. Okay, let's have the conversation. Please, Eric, tell me how Prime's overrated. Because he walked in and said, and it's Louis, and he promptly blew all those dudes out and brought in players that were much better than them. Damn near went to a bowl game until he lost like 37 straight to end season 1. And then damn near won the conference last year. I don't know anything that he's done that's overrated. He has recruited. He has portaled. He has put guys in the NFL. He has made them more money than Colorado. Do you understand that they've sold more tickets in 2 years than they had sold it any other year? Like he sold tickets like they're never going to have another game. The guy has made them so much money. He has built their brand. He has put them on every platform. If he's overrated, I don't even know what success would look like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you could do any better than he's done. And yet you have guys who will look at Deion and likely knowing that Eric lives in Florida and is a MAGA Republican, he's black, so he's never going to get your endorsement. That would be my guess. And because you can't possibly.
You can't factually say he's
overrated.
Or he's overrated.
No. I agree, Monty, but if TCU's defense improves, wow. It's not a tough schedule. Damon says Colorado will be on TV almost every week. Don't hate. Great for the conference. Huge for the Big 12. The biggest issue last year was that BYU and Colorado could not beat Kansas or they would have gone to the college football playoff. There's no doubt. And it's very difficult when you're in Deion's position to have enough depth in year 2 of your program and you're on the verge of competing for a conference championship. Yeah, he's overrated. Oh, he played his kid. Yeah, who was one of the best quarterbacks in college football.
And now plays in the NFL. Just saying.
And again, what is everybody in Cleveland saying? He dominated the first week of OTAs. They made him go with the 2s and 3s on offense. And he very simply dominated and now was ending the week of OTAs with the number 1s, getting reps with the first team. Oh, he sucks. Okay. If he sucks, I want him on my team.
Yeah.
I would love Deion Sanders to replace Marcus Can't Count to 10 Freeman at Notre Dame. I would be thrilled. Like it's amazing to me. And this from a Michigan fan who has one of the worst head coaches in college football in Sharon Moore, and then cheeseburger guy, and it was just cheeseburgers for hungry kids. That scumbag was your head coach, and you were begging them to make scumbag cheeseburger buyer guy the highest paid coach in college football. And you're going to turn around and say that Deion's overrated. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Crazy. Unless your schedule looks like UF, stop crying. Well, Florida's And
That's the SEC, dude.
And Billy's going to get whacked. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Have you guys looked at Florida's schedule and with what's going on there? Now that Santaono isn't the president, speaking of Michigan, did you guys see all the scandals that are coming up about just what a bunch of scumbags they are in administration there? Like, Michigan's a joke, dude.
It's embarrassing.
It really is embarrassing. Here's Florida's schedule. And again, I would agree nobody in the Big 12 should be crying because you were 4-4 in conference last year. Long Island, South Florida. Okay, we're fine. We're 2-0. Do not tell me he DM'd you.
He's tagging me in posts about Ryan Field.
Bro, James... Then from those 2 wins, that might be the only 2 they get. Are you guys ready for what it's like to be in the SEC? At LSU, at Miami, Texas, at Texas A&M, Mississippi State. All right. Okay, the tough part's behind us, right? Wrong. Georgia, at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State. You're going to win 3 games next year, and Billy's going to get whacked. That schedule is impossible. Impossible. Let me tell you about the new car wash shower at Michigan State. Guys.
Bro?
I did a video last year of Cincinnati's new IPF, but last year it was just a frame. Guys, let me tell you something. I went and got some Gateway chili or whatever the hell, like a Skyline chili.
And whatever it is at the roller food station.
Whatever that colon blow stuff is called.
Yeah.
It was overrated, just like the IPF at Cincinnati, because it wasn't built yet. It was just a frame, and I got to tell you, if that was a T-Boone, I mean, if T-Boone had any acumen for chili, he'd have bought into Cincinnati, not Oak State. They had at least another year before it's finished. If it looks like the rendering, it will be great. Yeah, I'm sure. Whoever Colorado plays, that team gets immediate eyeballs as well, so don't hate. Go beat them if you don't like them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not difficult.
Monty's on a heater. Truth. James has his wife wear a Preston Stone mask to bed every night. Wow.
Hiscock.
I just remember how deep in the throat Preston Stone was last year. Like, oh man, Monty, SMU's got this guy, Preston Stone.
They're going to win the conference. Have you seen the wide receiver room there?
Preston Stone, the whole damn thing.
Monty.
I mean, I'm here for it. James was so far over the top with Preston.
Holden Middick.
And then it was before Preston Stone. It was, Ollie Gordon. Monty, Ollie Gordon should be in New York, and you're a bastard for not putting him there. Talk about Ollie Gordon. Okay, great. Not a Heisman candidate. Well, and then the season ended. He doesn't go to New York. Now we're last summer. Oh, Ollie Gordon. Let me tell you about this offensive line, Monty. And I got to tell you, this is the best wide receiver room anybody's ever seen ever in the history of football. Anywhere. Hey, James, BYU's got a better wide receiver room. No, they don't. Ollie Gordon's the best wide receiver at BYU.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Then Ollie Gordon got a DUI. That's not fair. He's going to run some stairs. He'll be fine. We're winning
filling in for somebody.
National championship, bro.
Natties.
And then they went on to not win a single game. And that was all mixed in with, Preston Stone. Let me tell you something, Preston Stone.
Monty, I got these new knee pads to celebrate Preston Stone. Do you want to see them? They're in the IPF.
Monty, when the goddamn Mormons come to town, Preston Stone is whipping that thing out. Ollie Gordon proceeded to have the worst year anybody's ever had ever in the history of college football. That's not true. Preston Stone quite literally got benched after like snap number 3. BYU beat SMU. And then Oak State went on not to win a game last year.
And then Jake Retzloff's accusations.
And then the season ends. Illegal. The season ends. We're talking about, whatever. And Oak State James like, oh, God, Jake Retzloff is going to be the greatest quarterback. It's funny. I was hanging out with some Jews, and they were telling me Manischewitz up in Provo, bitch. And I was like, I'm on it. And then he comes down the show. He's going to win the whole fucking thing. Heisman, O'Brien Trophy, college football playoff championship.
What's an erection?
And I'm like, wait, James, I got to interrupt you. There's breaking news. Jake Retzloff accused of heinous sexual assault.
Whoa.
If James gets any, quite literally,
that's out of the window.
If James speaks about your team,
dude,
they will commit heinous crimes and people will die.
He's an assassin.
Look, it is what it is. There are BYU fans that think Jake will still play for BYU this year. I think they are suffering in the denial grief stage, but it is what it is. I don't see how.
It's not the best situation, and we all know that.
Hey, look, Eric's still being a racist. Prime is like Bubba Wallace. He's a billboard. Okay. LA's on fire, man. They're burning over there.
Why are you comparing him to a black NASCAR driver?
Because that's what MAGA does. It's who you are. And I give you credit for living up to the brand. Made a nice chunk of change on the Oilers' ass kicking. Stop it. Stop it. Prime has helped Colorado make a huge amount of money and got a record number of new students. It's ridiculous. There is not any way, shape, or form he is overrated. The eye patch, the hype of Coach Deion is overrated. Could be, sure. Yeah. The hype is everybody wants him to come to their stadium and play football, and everybody wants him on their television shows. But Monty, I'm through and through Sanders family hater, but geez, man, Deion's done well for the program. Right? He had. Okay. BYU, actually, Baylor won their last 7 games last year. Sawyer Robinson's going to impress a lot of people. Man, I'm so...
Man, I
set the trap hoping somebody would be like, oh, Baylor, dude, Monty, you're so wrong about Baylor.
You have to check it before you wreck it.
Here's Baylor's schedule last year. Oh, 7 games in a row.
Oh, my God, Monty.
You are so wrong about Dave Aranda.
You have to be nice to stupid people.
Here are the 7 games in a row. Texas Tech. One of the most mediocre teams in the conference. Oklahoma State. Monty, I got to tell you about Ollie Gordon and these wide receivers. TCU's a good win. That game was at McLean. At West Virginia, at Houston, home for Kansas. 7 games in a row. They beat Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State. They beat 7 really average football teams. Really average football teams. Now, Kansas was hot when they played them. Right? And let's not forget where that game was on Kansas's schedule, because it makes it a quality win. Kansas had beaten Iowa State, BYU, and Colorado before they played Baylor. And then Baylor beat them handily at McLean 45-17. That's a quality win. But 6 of those 7 are dog-ass teams. I mean, dog-ass teams. Terrible. Dog-ass teams.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there you go. Wow, look at Calford. Calford going 50 Monty Show membership.
If you don't have a membership at this point,
if you don't have a membership by now, I don't know what you're
Where are we at
doing.
on likes, too? Are we hitting the like button, or what's the deal?
We're 2 hours into the show, and we're only at 67 likes. We've had over 2,000 views and only 67 likes. Hit the like button. It helps the channel grow. Bro, Eric, what are you doing? Don't be, bro. This is what I hate about. Don't be an idiot. You're being an idiot. And you're better than that. Don't be an idiot. You know. Stadium guy James, I just wish he would admit Utah and Oak State had several people get hurt. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. James, Oklahoma State was an unequivocal failure last year. It doesn't matter if they got hurt. Does it matter that Cam Rising got hurt? No, because Utah should have never had Cam Rising as their penciled in starter. And then Isaac Wilson was a complete flop behind him. It doesn't, a football, everybody has injuries in football. Everybody. You get hurt by injuries more when you don't have depth. Mike Gundy is a shitty recruiter who does not bring in fresh talent, does not build depth. And then when he goes and replaces coaches, he hires retreads who are old, not energetic, and don't relate to young people. And I've been trying to tell you for months and months, their portal sucks. Their recruiting class sucks. You cut Mike Gundy's pay because you said you couldn't afford NIL. It's not injuries, dude. Everybody has injuries. Everybody. You don't have depth. That's the issue. Mike Gundy should retire. He should not be the football coach at Oak State. You're going to be an afterthought again because Mike Gundy's still your football coach.
Yep.
Football hurts. People get hurt. Man. Oak State had several people get hurt when they played each other in week 4. I was there in person. Both teams suffered because of that game. No, they didn't. No, sir, they did not. Utah in no way, shape, or form suffered because of Oak State. No way, shape, or form. That is complete fallacy. Never happened. Not true in any way, shape, or form. Utah's entire existence last year is they had no quarterback depth. That's it. That's the whole, what happened to Utah in 2024? Yeah, they had no quarterback depth. Okay, great. Let's move on. Injuries had nothing to do with the fact at Oak State you were not talented. You were not well coordinated. You were one of the worst fundamental football teams in the entire country. I mean, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Mapes, Isaac Wilson's no Baylor Romney, but he'll do.
I know, right?
Good old Baylor Romney. If Baylor Romney doesn't go to BYU, does he become an NFL starter? I've seen a lot of dudes throw footballs. And you watch Baylor Romney, who at BYU did not have the luxury of the talent that like Jake Retzloff had last year.
Right.
Not at wide receiver, not on the offensive line, certainly not that defense. I think if Baylor Romney had been in a better situation, I think that dude's an NFL quarterback. But you're always a product of your situation. Monty Show, Texas State is going to schedule the Austin Secretarial College of Typing and Chicken Preparation for an out-of-conference game in 2027. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about Texas State today because every time I do, people are like, you hate Texas State.
That's every day.
Okay. You know. Jake Retzloff is a replaceable quarterback. Now he's a replaceable quarterback.
God, dude, why?
His numbers last year were very mid. It's not his numbers that you care about. His numbers weren't very mid. It's the touchdowns in critical situations. It's his ability to run. It's the fact that every man in that offensive locker room really likes him. There's chemistry. There's you can't replace.
You can't just replace, dude.
You can't replace that. Oak State lost both star linebackers. People get hurt in football. People get hurt in football, man. Stop talking about injuries. Stop crying like a little girl about injuries. Everybody has injuries. Are you gonna go? Hello?
Sorry, yeah, that was a
Stop crying like a little girl.
Yeah, man, that is an obscure drop.
Okay. What about the other wedding crasher drop? Erroneous. I need that on my soundboard.
Yeah, you do.
I do. They're not. James, and I'm being serious, James. With all due respect, you don't understand how to build a football team. Because if you're going to say whom you said was their best position group, they're not deep. They were not deep. I told you that last year. Ollie Gordon is a good running back. Was he ever the best running back in college football? Never. You wanted him to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. He was not. You were sitting here telling us that you had quarterbacks for days and you didn't have any quarterbacks. And you tried. I'm just telling you. Oak State's not good. They're not deep. And any fan that says, oh, well, we had injuries, that's what happened. Okay, well, then your coach should be fired. Because if you have injuries that decimate your football team, that tells me you're not deep enough. It's as simple as that. Remember, you guys didn't want to play Oklahoma. Oh, now I know why. Because you weren't deep enough. You weren't talented.
Stop crying like a little girl.
Oklahoma wasn't good last year. And they would have boat raced you. Like, what are we even talking about?
I just don't know how you're defending that team.
Yeah. Welcome to the nightmare. Erroneous on all counts.
Yeah.
We have that drop, don't we?
No. No.
We used to have that drop. Yeah, I replaced it. I hated it. Retzloff was money in the 2-minute drill.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
The Oklahoma State game at Lavelle was wild.
Yeah, that's exactly right. People get hurt in football like Cam did at Utah. And what was the story at Utah? You didn't have a quarterback behind him.
Yeah, the Gatorade cooler won.
Oh, so you went out and got one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football in Devin Dampier. Huh, funny how that works. That's making a change. Hey, our offense is really bad. I have for over a decade been hesitant to go and open up and throw and, run a modern day offense. Yeah, let me go get Jason Beck and his quarterback, Devin Dampier, who had one of the most lethal offenses in the country last year. Like, Paxton says LMAO. It makes me crazy. You guys know it's a pet peeve of mine. I hate when fans are irrational about their football teams.
Well, and again, I'm not trying to make it personal, James, but I just think you can't factually back up the stuff you're saying.
No, you can't.
Like the idea that you're literally trying to say that Utah somehow suffered from the Oklahoma. Dude, Utah won that game. And that was one of the bright spots of their season. They didn't suffer from that game.
No,
dude.
Not at all. Not at all. Injuries happen. The injury that decimated that football team was Cam Rising against Arizona State. It ended his career. It's as simple as that. It ended his career. That's a decimating injury. Should Coach Wick get fired since they had no depth at quarterback and the excuse for them losing was not having a quarterback? No. Kyle Whittingham has done things at Utah that are historically significant almost every year. The transition from the Mountain West to the Pac-12 to winning multiple conference championships and going to Rose Bowls to then transitioning to the Big 12 and having one of the worst years of his career. It's not like he's had multiple bad years. And I give him a lot of credit for if he had been resistant to change, I think then you had to probably talk about moving on. He was not resistant to change. He was not. The problem with a guy like Mike Gundy is in recent times, he hasn't been vying for the top of college football. He hasn't been
they haven't been competitive.
They haven't been significant.
Yeah.
And now everybody leaves the league, including Oklahoma and Texas, and you bring in BYU and you bring back Colorado and you bring back the Arizona schools. BYU and Colorado almost go to the college football playoff, and Arizona State wins the conference and does. Meanwhile, Oak State's not winning a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm okay if you want to talk and propagate your teams. Okay, cool. I'm good with that. That's what sports talk's about. But when you come in and say both Utah and Oak State suffered because of the Oak State game, did you watch a snap of that game?
You claim you were there.
Like, that never happened. That never, ever happened. That never happened. Eye patch. Well, OSU did play the Big 12 championship game the year before. I mean, they had a bad year. They didn't have a bad year last year. Do you understand the year that they had last year? They had a year. And I think it's interesting you bring up the 2020, I guess what was that, 2023?
I believe so, yeah.
Big 12 championship game. Because what do you remember about the 2023 championship game? They were not competitive. They got absolutely wrecked. And when you look at the fact that Quinn Ewers threw for 452 yards and 4 touchdowns in that game, was defense a problem? Okay. That Texas ran for 200 yards. Was defense a problem? Nah, we'll just keep going. That they threw for 464 yards of receiving. Their receivers had 464 yards. No, we're fine. But obviously the offense was fine, right? Because against Texas, who now we know was a legitimate 12-1, then went to the SEC and then went to the college football playoff. I simply point out that you were out first down in that championship game, 33-13. Like we've done this before on the show where we talked about how just statistically lopsided that game was, and you did nothing to improve that roster. Nothing. You got boat raced by Texas, and you wrote it off to, well, Texas is just really good. But what are you?
Not really good.
And you did nothing to bolster yourself in that game. You know, like it's wild to me that we're sitting here trying to find a conversation to make it seem that Oak State is
not as bad as they are.
Serviceable. Like Mike Gundy should not be the head coach there somehow. But Monty, it took Oak State a double overtime win over BYU to make that championship game, and not to take away a win, but that should have been an indicator of how good they were. God, I forgot about that game. I mean, listen, I'm not taking anything away from Oak State, and I am always about, let's be brutally honest about who you are as a football team. You gave up 30 points to Houston the week before that double overtime win. And your losses that year were bad losses. You got torched by South Alabama that year. You got blown up by Iowa State that year, and you were supposed to be amazing. And again, I just simply say you can't lose 45-3 to UCF and then need 43 points in double overtime to beat BYU and then get absolutely eviscerated. Oh, but Monty, we went to the Tax Act Bowl. Who cares? Come on. After a decade of futility, Texas decides to go to the SEC and finally get a coach that makes them good again. Indeed. But that's the balls you got to have.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. Like, that's it.
That's what you have to do. So I look at a guy like Jason Beck being hired by Kyle Whittingham. That's what you have to do. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind anyway that you have to, if you are bad, you have to make systemic changes. Look at BYU. You think going and getting Jay Hill and firing your best friend was easy? No, but Kalani did it, and now look. Right? Like, come on. Next 5 years at Oak State will be rebuilding years, and will be their excuse. You've got to get rid of Mike Gundy.
He won't be there another 5 years if it doesn't turn around. I don't think. But
how do you, if you're Mike Gundy, how do you look at your players when they know that they cut your salary so that they could afford to pay NIL? What other coach in the country had his salary cut? Do P4 coaches get salary cuts and keep their jobs? No. Anyway, I don't know. You know, Texas had all of down years. Yes, they did. Shouty, hey, y'all got to remember Texas used to be really bad until we coached Sark. Yeah, until you hired Sark. Well, and again, I know that you guys, and we can go round and round about this. But again, I'll say that Steve Sarkisian built one of the best coaching staffs in the country.
Yes, he did.
Deion Sanders. You want to turn around a program? Texas, best coaching staff in the country. Deion Sanders, best coaching staff in the country. Kyle Whittingham, significant changes. One of the best coaching staffs in the conference. We'll see about the country. Like, you look at Rich. Why am I so excited about Rich Rod at West Virginia? Because he's got a really good coaching staff. Yeah, obviously the head coach has to be good. And I think Rich Rod's a really good head coach. Deion's a really good head coach with a great staff. Like, I just don't think it's that difficult. Harbaugh had his salary cut and kept his job for a bit. Oh, yes, he did. What do you guys think the Michigan penalty is going to be? Charlie Baker, the president of the NCAA, said that we'll get a Michigan announcement in 30 to 90 days, essentially. The first thing we need to establish here is they're not vacating wins. That's not happening. I think there's going to be a massive show cause for multiple coaches. I think you will have a significant reduction in recruiting efforts. And I think the biggest question is, will you take Michigan's eligibility for postseason play away?
I don't think you will, because you just simply don't have to, like in terms of what you're doing to them. Like, they're not going to be able to make the playoff if you're going to take away all that recruiting ability. And you're essentially just stripping them of the ability to have a good football team. I mean, that's what you're doing. So
I would agree.
So I mean, maybe they will. I mean, maybe the CFP ban gets put in place. I don't know, but and we have to also consider that this is kind of the NCAA disciplinary board's like last hurrah, if you will, their last. This is it. Yeah, this is their last thing. So like, I to that point, will we get a postseason ban? Well, because it's their last thing. Yeah, probably. How long have we been hearing they're going to make an example out of this? So actually, maybe they will. Maybe they will. But I think that this conversation around, this new disciplinary board that's part of the settlement and everything, that's where the sport's going. And,
big time.
And I think that a lot of schools and, just industry leaders, folks who are in the space every day have a healthy respect for, it's not the way it used to be. You can't break all the rules ahead of time, know that you'll get burned in 12 to 18 months and then leave the sport. We're not doing that anymore. And that's because you did it to so many people that now the masses have flipped the coin. Yeah,
I think there is no question that you can listen. I think you can take scholarships away. I think there's no doubt they will do that. I think you can restrict coaches' travel. I think there's no doubt they will do that. And I think it is imperative that you send a message that whether you put an asterisk next to Michigan's name or not, you can't let a bunch of scumbags like Jim Harbaugh, Sharon Moore, that unintelligent loser that is your athletic director. You cannot let those folks do what they did at Michigan and go unpunished. Because what they did is forever damage the legacy and integrity of college football. Jim Harbaugh lied, evaded, and then he finally was pressed, still was not fully transparent about recruiting. Because remember, Monty, they were just buying cheeseburgers for hungry kids.
Be America's team.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. They were cheating.
Yeah, they were. Intentionally.
And again, Michigan fan, you guys are scumbags if you believe that Jim Harbaugh didn't know. Because I'm just going to continue to ask you the same question. Okay, let's play the game. Jim Harbaugh didn't know. Okay, terrible head coach, completely derelict in his duty. That's a level 1 violation. It's called loss of institutional control and a lack of oversight. Oh, but he did know. Oh, he did know. Okay, well, then he's even more of a scumbag than we already believe that Jim Harbaugh is. And let me tell you, that guy's a fucking scumbag. And he willfully and knowingly cheated, which in my opinion is what he did. And you still offered him one of the largest contracts in the history of all of professional sports coaching. And you begged him to stay. You were on your knee pad begging him to stay. So either way, did he know? Nah, he's a terrible coach. Oh, he didn't know. Oh, he's a terrible coach.
Yep.
Sharon Moore, multi-time level 1 violator. Scumbag. Immediately, so let me get this right. The scumbag you offered the largest contract in the history of college sports left, and who knew, birds of a feather, he went to work for the other scumbags that used to be in San Diego, but now are cowards and evicted their own selves to Los Angeles to borrow time in a stadium. So scumbags hanging out with scumbags, who knew that, right? So instead of cleaning house and rebuilding your image, you took a head coach in Sharon Moore, took an assistant coach in Sharon Moore, who is a multi-time offender and a scumbag, and deleted text messages with the original scumbag Connor Stallions, and you made him the head coach, and he's about to get a show cause. But Michigan doesn't care because he's a Michigan man through and through. Okay. Well, then Ward Manuel, who is a loser and terrible at his job, who destroyed the ethics and integrity of not only the Big Ten, certainly Michigan, but now the college football playoff, to the point where that scumbag loser has gone so far that now you have the college football playoff being completely changed. Oh, but it's Greg Sankey's fault. No, it's that scumbag Ward Manuel who oversaw massive issues, including physical assault by Juwan Howard in a handshake line, terrible basketball program, one of the biggest scandals in the history of college football. Oh, wait, my bad.
But wait, there's more.
I need to clarify which worst scandal in the history of college football, because I'm not even talking about Matt Weiss, who broke into young people's social media accounts to steal their nudes while he was employed as the offensive coordinator under cheeseburger buying scumbag Jim Harbaugh. No, that's not the scandal I'm talking about. I'm talking about Spygate, where you sent people to other campuses to videotape sidelines.
Sign stealer guy.
To get videotape you already got delivered to you into a system free of charge. And then your head coach lied about it. You lied about it. You went to a judge who played football at Michigan, graduated Michigan law, and then at the last moment, you pulled the application for an injunction, and you allowed the punishment self-inflicted to begin with. Because remember, Jim Harbaugh, Monty, Jim's innocent. He would never do that. He was just buying cheeseburgers for hungry kids. Then why did he suspend himself? Why did Sharon Moore suspend himself? Oh, okay. Okay, so completely innocent. We were buying cheeseburgers for kids, but we're going to suspend ourselves because I need more time to buy more cheeseburgers for kids who were never there and they were never hungry. I'm just using that as an excuse. Because remember what the cheeseburger story is. It's not that Jimbo the scumbag was buying cheeseburgers for hungry kids. No, he was having a cheeseburger for breakfast. And how do we know that? Because the recruit that all you idiot Michigan fans say, they just happen to be in the same restaurant.
I want the best people.
Is that Jim's fault? Yeah, unfortunately, dumbass, the text messages say they were meant to be there at the same time. The text messages say that the kid and the coaches were communicating during the COVID dark period. Oh, and by the way, how do we know about the cheeseburgers? Oh, that's right, because when the recruit was questioned by the NCAA, what did he say? Man, we thought it was really weird that scumbag was buying himself a cheeseburger for breakfast.
That's every day. Do
you see where we're going? Oh, Monty is innocent. Okay, so he didn't know. Scumbag. Oh, he did know. Scumbag. Cheeseburgers for kids. Scumbag. Matt Weiss, really a scumbag, who was employed by not one but two Harbaugh brothers. Yeah, they're fucking scumbags. And then Santano can't get a job because it turns out he's a scumbag too. And then, did anybody else notice this story about the University of Michigan having protesters followed around by private security? To the point, and how do we know this? Because the protesters were going on about their lives, right? And they were having these weird run-ins with people that just couldn't be explained. but they were creepy. And a lot of times the kids, the students on campus, the ones who fucking pay you to go to school there and exercise their First Amendment right to free speech. Yeah, they were being followed around and being surveilled because the kids felt threatened. And now Michigan is saying, and I just can't believe that Michigan, wait, are you saying that Michigan is admitting that they did this to these kids? Wait a minute. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you will. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you saying that kids in multiple different situations and scenarios and situations completely unrelated to each other were victimized by Michigan?
What? That
Like
never happened.
The Matt Weiss kids victimized by Michigan. Because he's a scumbag. All of the kids who lost football games because Jim Harbaugh and his football staff are, say it with me, a bunch of scumbags. They were victimized. And now Michigan is admitting that it cut ties with a private security company that was accused of following pro-Palestinian activists on and off campus. The university said it found actions of one security company employee disturbing, unacceptable, and unethical, but didn't want to elaborate.
I'm sure I wouldn't want to elaborate either. Slick.
According to The Guardian, which is a newspaper in the UK, students said they were surveilled around Ann Arbor. The news outlet posted videos from a member of the Muslim group who decided to confront a man who was watching him from a car last summer. That man, in turn, yelled and accused him of trying to steal his wallet. So let me get this right. You're so much of a scumbag, Michigan. You hired a bunch of scumbags to surveil protesters. And then when the protesters said, hey, you look like a scumbag. Why are you watching me? He's stealing my wallet, brown skin guy. Who knew that Michigan would partake in such utter disgusting behavior?
Joke, dude.
Can you guys believe it? And now, hey, we're really sorry. We fired them because we would never condone that behavior. Well, what about Matt Weiss? What about Jim Harbaugh? What about Connor Stallions? I know. What about Santa Ono? Oh, that's right. He quit. And you are all now trying to take credit for firing him. So you don't really hire the best people. Now, do you? Apparently you don't.
A fair question.
Apparently you don't. I mean, I know it's shocking.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody looks at Michigan with respect anymore. I just can't. They've given me no choice.
It's wild to me that we now have stories about how patterns are emerging with the University of Michigan's Chinese student cases, experts say. You don't want me to read that story, Michigan fan. No, I'll choose something else because there's so many stories about how shitty it is to be a human being on campus in Ann Arbor now.
Yeah.
Right. Like it is.
It's embarrassing, bro.
They're quite literally. Like the ACLU is now trying to figure out who you are videotaping on camp. Do you guys understand that the American Civil Liberties Union is asking Michigan to detail their camera network on their campus? Bro. And we're supposed to believe that they acted ethic?
Come on. Be better.
Look at what you're doing to human beings. What are you talking about? Michigan has a top flight anti-hacking program to protect students headed by some Matt guy.
Yeah, some Matt guy. I don't know.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is, but
I mean, it's amazing to me because here's the truth of the matter.
Here's the deal.
We send our children to universities to become adults. Because when you go to college, you become who you're going to be. And if you were one of those people in the last decade at Michigan, you probably are not.
Just the last decade. Maybe, yeah. Who's really counting now?
Students getting followed at many schools due to current administration. And all of it because his kid couldn't get into Harvard. Notice how, don't get me started. Heinous crimes, in fact. I just think that it is
It's so over the top.
It is.
Dude.
It is really crazy to me. No, John Hamm. No, you're completely fucking wrong. It has nothing to do with their politics. So you want to vilify them because they're pro-Palestinian. They have a First Amendment right. And then when you try to squelch them by sicking security on them, who then when they say to the security guard, hey, why are you following me? The security guard immediately turns heel and claims that the kids they were following were the protesters they were following, tried to rob them. You're trying to victimize them. It has nothing to do with their politics. Here's what you don't understand. They're free to root for whichever side they want. That doesn't give you the right to go and try and get them arrested for crimes. It doesn't give you the right to do that. You're victimizing people based on their political beliefs. That's Russia, my friend, John. That's not what we do in this country. It's not what we do. That's why we have the lunacy that's happening in Los Angeles right now. Anyway, to put a bow on this, this is who we're talking about. That's the University of Michigan. And we're supposed to believe that they had no idea and he was a lone wolf.
It's so frustrating.
Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Paxton, I haven't seen any peaceful protests. The funny thing is that, like, I think particularly the Palestine-Israel protests situation, it's become so heated because we're convenient about freedom. We're convenient about freedom. It's why we're arresting American citizens for being in protests. They're not in the country illegally. They're not beating people up, but we're arresting them and then, oops, sorry, my bad. Right? That's what we're doing. This whole thing in Los Angeles, do you guys understand this whole thing in Los Angeles is, there were no riots. There were no, bro, if you've lived in Los Angeles as long as we've lived in Los Angeles,
yep.
Trust me, you know what a riot is. That little thing, do you guys understand they're talking about how, oh, Los Angeles is burning, Monty? No, actually, it's not. You understand that we're talking about like 1 square block in downtown Los Angeles. You understand that, right? This isn't, from Pasadena to the beach. It's not what's happening. How come we're not talking about this in every other city in the country that's got protests? Because it's California.
And there's a personal vendetta.
Los Angeles isn't on fire. Los Angeles is not burning.
But you watch the news. So,
it's amazing to me that we claim to be a country of freedom and we're not. You cannot say what you want in this country. You cannot do what you want in this country. If you are not pro-Israel or if you are not pro-Palestine, you're wrong. If you are not pro-immigration or pro-Mexican, you're wrong. We don't exchange ideas anymore. We don't have freedom. They surveilled people on that campus and tried to intimidate them. And then when that didn't work and they walked up to you and said, why are you surveilling me? You tried to get them arrested for a crime that they didn't commit. We put people, do you guys understand that we put a guy in jail who is completely innocent? And in fact, we put him in jail because he was a witness in a trial. Here's the ultimate irony of it. This cat gets into a fight with somebody, an argument, a verbal argument. And the guy he got in the verbal argument with physically assaulted him. The guy who was the victim called the cops. The guy got arrested for assaulting him. So what did the guy who got arrested do? He wrote a letter and forged the name of his accuser and sent it to Homeland Security, sent it to a bunch of people, threatening Donald Trump's life. And the Trump administration went for it, lock, stock, and barrel. And you know what they did? They arrested the guy who was assaulted because his assaulter put his name on the letter and mailed it in. They arrested him. And the guy who is in jail for assault did it so that he wouldn't go to jail, so that the witness couldn't testify. And we believed him. And then it comes out. Did anybody apologize? No. No, we didn't. What are we doing? What are we doing? We're taking people's freedoms. And at Michigan, they did it by design. And then it's like, oh, well, we're going to run Santa Ono out. Santa Ono quit. He walked off your campus. Couldn't get hired, but he's not your president anymore. Right? This is who Michigan is. Anyway, it's wild to me that we just don't respect freedom anymore.
Nope.
And Blue Turf, get the fuck out. I don't care if you're here for sports or not. Is it your show? Oh, it's not.
Have a nice day.
If you aren't pro Notre Dame or pro Cubs or pro Oilers, you're actually right. That's correct. I'm actually not an Oilers fan, but in this series, I am.
Well, when they're playing the Panthers, you are.
Yeah. I just think it's amazing that we don't look at things on face value because of our sports allegiances. Like with Oak State James and Oklahoma State, or Texas State guy, or Pac-12 guy, or Boise guy. Guy.
Or a guy that just comes in and tries to tell us how to do our show.
There was a Boise State fan in the comment section yesterday. You guys just hate Boise State.
Okay.
When we literally had a conversation yesterday talking about the great things Boise State's doing, you guys just hate Boise State. That must be it. It's crazy. Let's see. I did see that SCOTUS just voted unanimously that the FBI can be sued for bad raids where they previously had government qualified immunity. Yeah. I wish that we had freedom. I wish we had freedom. We don't have freedom in our country. You're not allowed to say and do what you want to do.
Nope.
Let's stop saying that. Let's stop saying that we are all free to do what we want to do. We're not. If you agree with the majority party, you are. Oh, you don't? Okay, you should stop talking. It's crazy to me. Did you guys see that a freelance reporter got shot in the neck with a rubber bullet? And they said that this person was committing a crime. Tried to arrest that person. And how did that get out? This is the best part. It got out because that freelance reporter got put in the same van as a CNN reporter. And they both got released. And if the CNN reporter doesn't break that story, nobody knows. The welt on this chick's neck.
Wild.
Have you guys ever seen those rubber bullets? Ooh. So when I was in San Francisco, do you guys remember all of the Antifa craziness? Well, the Oakland PD used to employ rubber bullets. And they are terrifying. If you can avoid getting shot by a rubber bullet, then my advice is to avoid it. Because that is one of the craziest things I've ever seen deployed on a street. Those things hurt. Now, it's not going to kill you. Well, it can kill you if you get hit in the head but I've seen somebody have their collarbone broken. There was, and I'm not saying they didn't deserve it. So in Oakland, they were literally camping on the Oakland City Hall lawn, and they were digging holes to poop in. And so the police went in and swept. The people who were camping rioted, and this one dude's collarbone just got eviscerated, not by a direct shot, but a ricochet that hit somebody. A rubber bullet hit somebody next to him, hit him in the collarbone, and absolutely shattered his collarbone. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. And I'm amazed by it. I'm absolutely amazed by it. I don't even know how you, how do you go on with your life at that point? Right.
You're going to sit on your ass until your collarbone heals. And then I don't know how long it's going to take you to get over the trauma of it.
Yeah. But anyways, all right. See, that's the problem. We can't have conversations about things without, and I don't even know where he is. I think his name is Blue Turf or whatever. But anyway, it's amazing to me that we can't have conversations about bad actors at Michigan without somebody being like, well, democracy, bro. Like, what?
Yeah, I just think that like
Hi,
if you
Kelvin.
want like bro, if you want you shouldn't come here if you want to just get a a cardboard box talking head show. That's
No,
not what this is.
That's not what this is.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's 100-1, and people are like, man, I'm really glad you had that conversation.
Yeah. But I always think it's rich that dude, what was it, Big Blue Turf or whatever his name is, come in here and like stick to sports. Okay, if you don't like it, then just leave. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Paxton, I'll never fly on a plane. Dude, did you guys see that plane? And one dude survived.
Yeah.
Did you guys see this plane in, I think it was India?
Yeah, Air India.
It was flying to London, and it landed on an apartment building, and one dude survived the crash. I don't use the joke you want. Go buy a lottery ticket, like go do something. Put a nickel in a slot. I don't care. How do you walk off that plane when everybody else died? Like somebody,
no idea.
Like you wore the right shoes that day. I don't know. That is crazy that dude survived. It's absolutely mind-numbing. Your rights should apply no matter what side you fall on of the political spectrum. Absolutely. No question about it. What if I sit on my collarbone until my ass heals, dude?
Hey, man.
Having broken my collarbone in my life, it is not fun. Let's see. I used to protest. They were common occurrences in Berkeley all the time. Protests in Berkeley, I wish they would continue. The thing I don't like is that we can't just march down the street. We got to break stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's a crime. If you're one of the people looting stores, you should go to jail. If you're one of the people burning Waymo cars, you should go to jail. If you're one of the asshats who was ordering a Waymo car just so you could set it on fire, you should go to prison, not jail. That's not protesting. Right? You should be able to march down a street with a pro-Israel sign or a pro-Palestine sign. I don't care. Don't be violent. Don't loot stuff. Don't destroy stuff. And I have no problem. I don't have to agree with you.
Right.
But if you're blowing stuff up, come on, man. You're being stupid. Backwoods Sexy Mike Smith. One person survives on a plane crash reminds me of the Dean Koontz book, Lone Survivor.
Dude.
How do you explain that? Where do you sit on a plane that your plane crashes into an apartment building, everybody dies, and you live?
I'm going to guess he was somewhere at the front of the plane, but I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, nobody at the back of that plane is surviving with how that went down.
No.
So, you're probably at the front of the plane,
Dude.
And it just worked out for you.
Are you confident flying right now?
Yeah, I would say domestically, I'm very confident flying right now. I think that.
So you're not looking forward to Europe for Christmas?
No. What I mean is like highly trained pilots who have to go through the process. Like I'm not worried about. No, I'm not worried about flying. The statistics say it's our most reliable form of transportation. In 9 days, pretty much 10 days out of 10. You're going to have a real hard time running into any type of incident on a plane. Like it's just typically not going to happen.
Yeah. I'm amazed that this guy survived. The guy's name was Vishwash Kumar, was only slightly injured. He was not one of the 242 passengers. And at this point, 269 people who died in the crash. I need to see an interview. Where on the plane were you sitting? What did you do? How did that? Okay. It's out.
Okay.
You should know. Passenger on seat 11A survived an Air India crash. He's telling people that trouble started 30 seconds into the flight. He is 40 years old. 30 seconds after takeoff, there was a loud noise and then the plane crashed. It all happened so quick. He received impact injuries to his chest, eyes, and feet. But you're not dead. I don't even know what you say about that. He kept his boarding pass. Yeah, is that a souvenir?
Yeah.
Is the boarding pass a souvenir? Oh my God. That's wild.
Yeah, I just think that, I'm not looking to, I wouldn't feel great about flying in, certain parts of the world. I just wouldn't. I think you don't know. You don't know how they maintain the plane. You don't know. You know what I mean?
He walked away. The British Indian citizen was found limping in the street amid the wreckage after the plane smashed into a hostel for doctors and their families moments after takeoff. And are you out of your mind? Look, you guys, stop it. You will never believe this picture. This homie, Vishwash Kumar Ramesh. This has to be the luckiest SOB on the planet. This dude, so let me get this right. 241 other people died. You survive, and you're just chilling on the street. Look at this guy. Does he even look like he was in a crash? He looks like he's just walking down the street. You got to be the luckiest dude in the world. That is, wow. That is amazing.
And again, I don't know what caused this plane to have issues. If it was a maintenance thing, a pilot error, I have no idea. But what I do know is that you don't hear, like in our country with aircraft incidences, you don't hear about faulty equipment. You see the videos of, hey, they had an engine failure. They returned back to the airport. They had, the landing gear didn't come down. They successfully landed at the airport, sliding on the runway. Like, the pilots are trained to handle these issues. They're not going to make a fatal error and have something like this happen. So my guess is, anytime a commercial air, this was a 787 Dreamliner, anytime a plane that size crashes into a apartment building, I'm going to guess there was something wrong with the plane. Typically, you're not just going to crash into buildings flying those planes.
And who knows, does Air India maintenance their planes well enough?
Who knows,
like,
right?
You don't know what the
so
training is.
So when you ask me, am I nervous? I'm not nervous flying domestically. Like, if your flight originates from the U.S., you're fine. Like, you're fine. Most of the time, you'll be fine.
Yeah, that guy's not human. He has to be from another planet.
And you know what the other thing is too, dude? I've really come around to the idea, like, bro, if you're on a plane and that stuff's happening, that's not an accident, bro.
You just got to close your eyes and breathe.
It's terrifying. I don't know what you do. I don't know who you pray for or what you think goes on after you die, but that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Bad
engine failure, I would say. But yeah, I'm not even a nervous flyer. I'm far more nervous walking into In-N-Out to buy French fries. We really got to have a conversation about this, you guys. Like, forget about protests and taking people's rights.
Or following them around.
That's fine. As long as you acknowledge that In-N-Out French fries are not the best French fries. And here's another one that I am amazed by. And in the comment section, get after it. Who has the best fast food fries? It's not In-N-Out. It just is not.
Yeah.
In a recent study based on 40,000 Yelp reviews, In-N-Out was named the best fast food fries in America. Number 2, Shake Shack. Number 3, Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. There's a brand new one right by your crib.
I can't help stupid people. I can't help you, dude.
Bojangles 4.
I can't.
Chick-fil-A 5. I give up. I'm telling you.
First of all, any fry conversation originates with, is it crinkle cuts or not? Because if it's not crinkle cuts, get out of my comment section. Crinkle cuts is number 1. So that would immediately chop the list down to Shake Shack, And a
Do
couple
you hear
of
the
local
things
spots.
that you say or no?
Let me guess. You're not a crinkle cut guy. Here we go.
Jack in the Box has
Here
the
we
best
go.
fast food French fries. Now, it's got to be going on 6 months since I had fries, honestly. Maybe things have changed. Jack in the Box has the best fast food French fries. Five Guys is in a different category. They're not fast food. Crinkle cuts are great. What's the place over
Warren's.
here at the Warren's? Warren's at the District in South Jordan. Great French fries. They're not better than Jack in the Box. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I do. They have great fries, dude. Great fries. And you know what it is too. You know what it is too. The Jack in the Box.
I don't know who you are anymore.
I know. I know. The Jack in the Box that we have access to, I feel like doesn't do the best job with the freshness of their oil or like how often they rotate it, because you can taste that difference. And Warren's,
you can taste that breakfast on them afternoon
dude,
fry.
Call me a fat ass if you want to. I know a good fry when I eat one, and Warren's has yet to let me down. Now, in fairness, I don't go to Warren's very much. It's probably at this point, it's probably once a quarter at most.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're always fresh, and it's mainly because they're a smaller business. They're not 800 location chain
I would agree.
setup, So and that Jack in the Box has a bunch of kids running it based on who works the drive-through. So that's also part of the issue, I think. But,
I would agree. Totally. I
don't know. I think it's, best fast food fry is so day to day. Generally speaking, Jack's got a pretty good selection. I'm never going to say McDonald's, never going to say In-N-Out, never going to say Burger King.
But see, like Paxton's on this Chick-fil-A thing.
See, but like Chick-fil-A, what Chick-fil-A does is they try to just be way different, right? With the waffle fry. Their whole thing is, hey, we're gonna be that alternative option to what you would typically get. You know what the problem with Chick-fil-A fries are, dude? Half the time they salt them, half the time they don't.
And the other half of the time they're soggy.
Yeah. So
which is terrible.
Again, this brings me right back to what I just said. Great point. Again, it's a quality conversation. If I'm getting, dude, when I have had hot salted waffle fry, it's good.
Yep.
I like eating it. The problem is it's very rare that I get it. That's the problem. You
What
don't
about-
deliver enough.
But Gumby, as usual, brings brilliance to the show. Nationally, Jack in the Box. Locally, Los Polos Hermanos curly fries.
Okay, Los Polos.
The Chicken Hermanos, the Chicken Boys, or the Chicken Friends.
The Chicken Brothers.
Maybe the question was who has the most expensive fries?
There's only one answer.
That'd be Five Guys. The eye patch. Wendy's isn't bad, but Wendy's, you got to go to the right Wendy's. It's hit or miss. This one by my house in South Jordan, it's hit or miss. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes, God.
See, Del Taco's got crinkle cuts, but
okay, stop.
But I'm not a huge fan.
Okay, I will, bro. I'll surveil you. Like you cannot put Del Taco fries up on the. I said surveil you.
Yeah, surveil me.
I'll be quiet. I like the curly fries from Arby's. Sue me. I have never had them.
Dude, I haven't been to an Arby's in.
Never had them.
Yeah.
Fight on Natty's. Wendy's, Carl's Jr. crinkle cut fries are delicious. Okay.
Dude, that's a clown comment, dude. Coming from a clown program, okay? Just stop. Stop, dude.
Carl's Jr., my wife took my Carl's virginity way back in the day when it was Carl's Green Burrito.
Okay.
Carl's Green. And for those of you in Los Angeles, Southern California, you guys remember the hat where you have the poutine fries?
Nah, I'm good.
There were some moments on the toilet after eating at the hat. I don't care for crinkle cuts. I think they have to be done right. That's just me, but which is fine. Johnny Gonzalez, a French fry that is so greasy that it's basically a potato noodle. Oh,
disgusting.
So gross. Crinkle or waffle cut, not my thing. Yeah, I'm kind of the waffle cuts out 100%. That poll have been done by the Jim Harbaugh Marching and Chowder Society. That could absolutely have been it. And donuts. Jake is a Del Taco fry guy. Dude, Jake is a Del Taco everything guy.
I like Del Taco, but their fries, typically let you down. They are crinkle cuts, but they're just not. They don't deliver.
I like Del Taco. Del Taco is better than Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Who makes steak fries? Not many people anymore.
Couldn't tell you, dude.
Yeah.
Your grocery store?
Yeah. Ever heard of a potato log? Love those as a kid. Never had a potato log.
Yeah, big log guy, huh?
Fresh curly fries from Arby's. Okay, again, another one. Gummy. Guys. I heard if you cut the fries differently, they taste differently. Check Chick-fil-A fries. The thing I don't like about In-N-Out fries, they have that, hey, we soak these in water for like 3 hours. They're like noodles. They're spaghetti. And unless they're cooked perfectly, I like a little crisp, a little snap in my French fries.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why I think Five Guys has the best burger fries, but they're not fast food. But maybe I need to get some. It's Father's Day this weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to get some fries this weekend. Oh, tater tots. Tainter tots?
Sorry,
are you eating tots off your taint?
Tainter tots.
You know. Red Robin has potato wedge fries, which are amazing. Amazing. Carl's weren't bad. No, they weren't. The eye patch. Del Taco fries are trash. Be better, Jake.
Dude, I didn't say I liked them. I said they had curly cuts and typically they don't deliver.
Attaboy. Welcome to the nightmare. I was waiting for Jake to mention Del Taco because of his love for the Double Del.
Dude, the Double Del is quality. Absolutely.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Fight on. Red Robin steak fries are the ultimate. Been too long. I believe Red Robin offers steak fries. There you go. Retired stockbroker, Taco Bell over Del Taco. Bye-bye. Never. Oh. Bro, what's going on with my flipping Amazon stock?
Got me, bro.
Speaking of retired stockbroker, we did not have a good day. We were having a good week on the market. And then yesterday, I'm largely leveraged on Amazon, which finished the day up, but it's down for the week at 213.24. But I got to tell you, GE, now, admittedly, I got into GE stock at $32. It's at $239.84.
Okay, stop complaining.
We're up 200, right? But it's been a rough week, man. You know, the best stock that I've got right now probably is probably GE Electric, GEV. I got to tell you, it's probably GE stock is my home run.
Yeah.
Right now. But, okay, I see Monty's issue with In-N-Out fries. Exactly.
Yeah, I just think that they're not anything to write home about. They're just, ugh.
Yeah. Red Robin chocolate shakes. Delicious. Haven't had a shake in so long. Calford, the heterosexual chicken nuggets.
Oh, boy.
It was still one of the greatest stories ever. Still. Johnny Gonzalez, In-N-Out fries ain't going in and out of anything. I'm not playing your game. Seth Hatmaker, I'm an equal opportunity with fries. I eat them all without extreme prejudice. Dude, I love French fries. But I'll tell you, my wife makes these potato wedges that we eat. We get gold potatoes, chop them up. She makes wedges with them, and they're amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah.
The problem is, and this is just my opinion, I'm going to tell you how to live your life. French fries are so bad for you. I'm at this point in my losing of fatdom that when I'm eating something, I think about what it's doing to me, and it just wrecks food. Right now, I am eating purely on utility. That's it. Because the reason I don't eat more burgers, and I must say it 78 times a week, dude, I'm craving a burger.
Yeah.
Man, I'd love a burger. But I know what it does to you. I'm not putting chia seeds in my oats to go out and eat burgers and fries. That's the biggest issue. This weekend, I'm going to Cecilia Mia here in Cottonwood for a good Italian dinner. Mainly because Matteo's downtown was sold out. That's about as crazy as I'm going to get. I would love French fries. They're so bad for you.
Yeah.
And potatoes, I think, largely get a bad reputation. Potatoes aren't bad for you. When you drop them in a bunch of oil and fry them up and put salt on them, they're not good for you.
So if you're going to drop them in a bunch of oil, can we make sure it's fresh oil so it at least tastes good?
You know, once in a while, you got to treat yourself. Occasionally, I do. I agree with you. Paxton, Red Robin has great burgers. Can't say I know. Retired stockbroker, G lost a plane today. F kit and hold it. Well, let's just chill out for a second. Right? Nugs and mac and cheese from Chick-fil-A is such a treat. Okay. Greg Hawkins, hello. Fries are empty calories. Get a second burger.
Damn.
They're terrible for you. I don't think people realize that. Like French fries are. I used to go to a little midget doctor who was like 4 feet tall.
A little midget doctor.
Yes. And he used to tell me, hey, man, if you're going to eat potato chips, and he said Doritos will kill you. And he used to say to me, if you're eating Doritos, just admit that you're trying to get diabetes. Hey, and he would say, if you're eating French fries, just admit that you want to die young. Just tell yourself that. And damn, if that guy's not in my head, because I think about it all. It's why I don't drink calories and haven't for how long. I don't drink soda of any kind. I'm either drinking a white Monster or water. That's it. That's all I drink. And that guy lives rent-free in my head. But when you start thinking about whether something's good or bad for you, it's over. Like, I love pizza. Do you guys understand that pizza is one of the worst things you can eat? But dude, you hand me a thin crust from the pie with sausage, mushroom, and onion, forget it. Knock it down. I love it. Now, I also believe sugar's way worse for you than fat. If he's a midget doctor, technically he does fit in your head. He does.
That's right. That's right.
That's true. Conundrum. I thought you got banned. NCAA Accountability Act being introduced by okay. Cool. Congress shouldn't be involved in it. I don't believe they like to be called midgets anymore, Monty. Well, he was a tiny little dude.
Not tall people.
Yeah, untall people. Taco pizza, good and good for you, dude. I love tacos. I love Oregano's pizza's incredible.
Bomb.
Incredible. And with that, White Monster, it better have the white top, folks.
Damn right, dude. And it's been a pain in the ass.
It's a pet peeve of mine, and what he's talking about. You see that right there? That's a silver top. I don't know if you can see that or not. That's a silver top. And that means that Monster had supply chain problems. Do you have a white top? Jake has a white top. You do it. Jake has a white top.
I'll flip it back over to yours.
Because he got it at the grocery store, I'm guessing. Where'd you get it? At
Maverick.
Maverick. I buy mine at Costco by the case. But they don't have white tops right now at Costco. And of course, because they don't have white tops at Costco, they were 2 for $5 at Harmon's. But I didn't know that. So I bought the case, and I'm almost through the case. I'll buy them at the grocery. This case is taking forever. But the white tops taste way better. Way.
This case is empty.
Dude, I'm telling you, the white tops make a difference. It does. Gold Rockstar for the win. I don't know what the Gold Rockstar is. You know. I miss Sobe No Fear Fruit Punch energy drink. Okay. I love the no sugar white top Monster, but the wife says I was going through too many, so I got cut off. Someone help me. I'm being held prisoner. Yeah. And then there's my wife getting up at 5 a.m. to go running and riding her bike and lifting weights. And I'm like, okay, have fun. I cannot wait not to work 7 hours.
Yeah.
And then work 7 more hours. Like I have
it's brutal,
4 jobs.
It is absolutely brutal.
Oak State James. Brad Williams uses the word midget all the time. He's hilarious and only 4 foot tall. You know, it's not personal. You know, me and caffeine are just not good friends at all. I am proud to say I have 0 caffeine in my system at all times. That's an emerging conversation. There was a study that came out that associated coffee drinking with longer life. I think you have to be careful how much you drink. I only drink generally 1, maybe 2 cans a day.
Yeah, I think it's case by case. I definitely think that caffeine abuse is not good for you.
There's a lot of it out there.
I think that I agree with you. I still think sugar is the worst thing for you. I think there is pros and cons to each item that we're going to talk about, whether it's a French fry or caffeine or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what I do know is that you can't work all day, not sleep, and live off caffeine for decades at a time. That's not good for you. So,
and I'm somebody that tracks my REM sleep. I'm a big believer in that. I know nobody gives a rat's ass. My $8 million Apple Watch rocket ship, it tells you how much REM sleep and deep sleep you get. And I'm trying in 7 hours, I'm trying to get 90 minutes of REM sleep. And lately I've been touching that, please share more about why French fries are bad for you. The older I get, the more I am tired of fries, because when you fry a potato, it changes the chemical complex of the potato. And I don't remember the word. Essentially, a fried potato goes right. I mean, it does bad things to your blood chemistry, and it goes right into your fat cells. It's brutal.
Basically, it's just the way your body reacts to it, and it puts bad stuff in your blood. That's the,
That's what you guys need to understand, that anything that you eat that's bad for you, it's because of the chemical reaction that it causes in your system.
Yeah.
Which largely is everything that you put in your mouth causes a chemical reaction. Water, soda, sugar. And you're trying to, in terms of food and caloric intake, you're trying to keep your blood sugar as level as possible. When it spikes way up, that's not a good thing. When it drops way down, that's not a good thing. So when you eat French fries, your blood sugar spikes way up, which changes what your body's going to do to process that food.
So just while we're sitting here talking, doing some digging on this Air India situation.
Yeah.
Initial reports of the crash site are saying that the undercarriage of the plane was still open and the flaps were retracted all the way, which is highly unusual for right after takeoff. Typically, the flaps would be fully extended to give you the most surface area to take off with. So I'm leaning towards pilot error on this, but I'm not going to rule out that I
hope not.
A plane that was delivered to Air India in 2013, maintenance could definitely be a thing, but flaps being in the wrong position, given how long you were in the air, is not a good sign.
Yeah, you want to hear about that. You definitely do not want to hear about that. The Monty Show, as always, presented by our good friends at The Advocates. TheAdvocates.com. Please be careful this weekend, you guys. We're in the middle of the 100 deadliest days on the calendar, Memorial Day to Labor Day. If you're on a bicycle or motorcycle, please be careful. If you're driving in your car, please watch out for bicycles and motorcycles. And if the worst happens, get to theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, and it won't cost you a penny out of pocket. You never pay the advocates. You only pay the advocates when and if they win your case, and they take that out of your settlement. You never reach into your pocket. Cost you nothing. You have no risk. 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. Until Monday, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.